In today's radio theatre, we present Heat of the Moment, written by R.G. Moore and produced in Durban by Tom Meehan.
Yes?
Is the owner of the house in, please?
Yes, Sir Richard is in, but the gentlemen are in the dining room now.
Well, you'd better get him out of the dining room, hadn't you?
Sir Richard is dining. He can't be disturbed at dinner. He'll be going out soon anyway. It's the Hunt Ball over at Storby tonight.
Never mind the Hunt Ball. I insist on seeing him immediately. Now go and tell him I'm here.
I shall do nothing of the sort. You can't come here demanding
Will you please do as I ask? I will not leave here until... I take it you are Major Sir Richard Scott Carey?
Yes, I am.
I make no apology for interrupting your meal.
Well, that's quite all right. We've more or less finished. What can I do for you?
I've come to demand an apology.
An apology? What for?
For an incident involving yourself which occurred yesterday afternoon. I think you know what I'm referring to.
Sorry, but I'm afraid I don't.
Well, if the incident was so unimportant to you that you've forgotten it already, I'd better refresh your memory.
Yes, I think perhaps you'd better.
Yesterday afternoon, around 3 p.m. up at your stables, you brutally and savagely thrashed a child of 10 with a whip. For all I know, this may be an everyday occurrence up here at Wickham Park. But it's not an occurrence I'm prepared to tolerate, and I've come here to demand an explanation and an apology.
Oh, so that's it, is it? The boy up at the stables, I see.
Well, what have you got to say?
Don't you speak to me like that. To begin with, you may or may not know that boy in question threw a thunderflash over my stable wall. It exploded a few feet away from a loose box with a mare in foal. That probably means nothing to you. However, secondly, the boy was trespassing on my property, and thirdly, he was dashed insolent when I caught him. I suppose you're his father, are you?
The boy has no father. His name is Alan Martin, and his mother's a widow. I happen to be his teacher at the Marford Secondary School.
Oh, I see.
Mrs. Martin found a bruise on the lad's thigh last night. She came to me this morning to ask if he'd been caned at school. As we don't go in for that sort of thing at our school, I questioned the boy and found out what happened.
Well, I can tell you now that he deserved a thrashing and he got one.
A child of 10?
Well, certainly, why not?
You had absolutely no right to take the law into your own hands and use violence against a boy of that age for nothing more than a childish prank.
Well, I'm afraid I can't agree with you, and I'd like to know what the dickens has got to do with you.
It has everything to do with me as his school teacher, as a friend of his mother's, and as a citizen. I'm saying that you unlawfully assaulted that boy.
Assaulted? For heaven's sake, man. He frightened a mare in foal.
What he did is not the point. Anyway, where's your proof?
Proof? My own word, I should hope.
As an officer and a gentleman, I suppose.
That was quite unnecessary.
Military rank, Major, does not entitle you or anyone else to inflict physical violence on my schoolchildren. And the sooner some of you people realize the laws in this country are in the hands of the police and not the upper classes, the better for all of us. We're living in a modern society now, though you may not be aware of it. So I suggest you forget your public school prefect methods in future and get used to the 1960s.
And I suggest you teach your boys that even in a modern society, private property is still supposed to be private.
We're not discussing private property. We're
Is this
discussing an assault on a human being.
How dare you come barging into my house in the middle of the dinner and shout at me like this?
I'm not shouting at you, Major. I'm inviting you to apologize publicly to the boy and his mother.
Then how do you propose that I should do that? Issue a proclamation from the town hall steps?
If you care to draft an official apology and give it to me, I shall see that it's printed in Monday's edition of the Advertiser.
I shall do nothing of the sort. And I'm afraid I must ask you to leave this house at once. As far as I'm concerned, we have nothing to discuss.
I'm not leaving until I have an apology.
There will be no apology. I'm asking to leave. Otherwise, I shall have to telephone for the police and have you removed by force.
I wouldn't involve the police if I were you, Major. You're on dangerous ground.
Get out! Go on, leave this house.
Oh, Richard, what is
Ordinary
happening?
people aren't going to be bullied and pushed around any longer by people of your so-called military caste.
You will leave this house at once.
Richard! Daddy, what's happening?
Can I help?
No, you can't. Go back to the dining room and leave this to me. Marjorie, go upstairs and take Sarah with you. I can handle this.
It's all right, Major. I've said what I came here to say. If you still refuse to apologize, you'll have to take the consequences. That's all.
That man's shaken you, hasn't he, Daddy?
No, not particularly. All the same, it wasn't a very pleasant interview. Typical, soured-up young left-winger with a great chip on his shoulder. A lot of first-rate people didn't give their lives to make this country safe for embittered young socialists like that. I don't like his type, or what he stands for, and I never will.
I expect he feels exactly the same way about you and what you stand for.
Well, you're talking like a socialist now, Sarah. I suppose you're going to tell me that you are one.
No, I'm not.
Well, you can stop talking nonsense. If I'm a member of the privileged class, which I am, because I was born into it, so are you. You're my daughter. And I think you might remember that before you start running it down.
It's not what you are, it's what you believe in. You can't help what you believe in.
Well, if you don't believe in the principle of private property, you'd better get out of this house, hadn't you? And spend your weekends in the Marford Council playground.
Oh, for goodness sake, Daddy, I'm not criticizing you. It's just that I can see that man's point of view as well as I can see yours. Surely that's reasonable.
It is not reasonable, Sarah. Either he's right or I'm right. You'd better make up your mind which.
I'm only saying that... Oh, how can I put it without you thinking I'm against
I
you?
know you young people today haven't much time for my generation or what we've fought for. You've been brought up to believe that everything is our fault.
How can you be so blind? I didn't say that, and you're not trying to understand.
I'm not blind.
You know what I mean.
Oh, what are you two arguing about?
Oh, it's nothing, Mummy. Sorry.
It's not nothing, Sarah. I think you ought to realize that my generation went to war to protect our wives and children from slavery. We're not warmongers. To hear people of Lewis's type talk about the last war, you'd think we'd all taken part in some monstrous crime. And we didn't go to war to provide fireworks for the hooligans of Marfa to chuck into somebody else's private property.
I can understand how you feel, Daddy. Honestly, I can. Nobody's challenging what you or anyone else did in the war. After all, everyone was in it. Only some people's deeds weren't quite as spectacular as others. They couldn't all be in destroyers or parachutists or commanding a squadron of tanks like you did.
That's got nothing to do with
She's
it.
quite right, darling. Some people had to work in factories all day and fire watch all night. The women had to bring up children under heavy bombing and queue for rations. I expect Mr. Lewis's father did his bit in the war, too. He was probably an air raid warden or a lance corporal or something like that.
It's nothing to do with the war. It's just that you and Mr. Lewis are hopelessly prejudiced against each other. He's a young and left-wing schoolmaster, and you're a not-so-young and right-wing country squire.
Sarah!
And you hate each other. It's not the First World War or the Second World War or the next war. It's the class war. It goes on and on all the time, and I hate it. I hate
And
it.
whose side are you on?
Me? I'm on the side of tolerance and understanding and people respecting each other. I hate whatever system makes you and that schoolmaster hate each other on sight before you've even been introduced.
Oh, there's Tony with his car. Oh, please stop arguing now.
Arguing? I'm not arguing. I can't get in a word in edgeways.
I'm sorry. I happen to feel very strongly about certain things, and I shouldn't have allowed myself to get involved.
You certainly should not.
Well, I think you'd better go now. Don't keep Tony waiting. Go on, Sarah.
I don't feel much like facing a hunt ball now. I feel a bit sick.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Richard, please. Now, you two go out and enjoy yourselves. Your father can well look after himself.
I'm sorry, Daddy. I suppose I ought to be loyal and on your side, whatever my feelings are.
Oh, indeed. I didn't know the young today attached any value to loyalty. I thought perhaps it had become one of those unmentionable words like patriotism or discipline.
I'm sorry. Honestly. I'll see you at the ball.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. How they hate us.
Who, darling? The young?
Oh, the Mr. Lewises of this world.
Yes, I suppose they do. They always have.
Well, are we right or are they?
I'm not sure anymore. It's all so confused.
If they are right, I sometimes wonder if any generation in history was ever so misguided as ours apparently was. This is the new Britain we risked our necks for in 1940. We've been fooled all our lives, Marjorie. And it's time for people with our outdated ideals and values to put our heads quietly in the gas oven.
Oh, you mustn't be so bitter, Richard. Sarah didn't mean it. I'm sure she
I'm
didn't.
not talking about Sarah, though she seems to be pretty well poisoned against us already. No, it's people like Lewis who influence the young today. Bitter people like Lewis, smouldering with hatred and envy.
What harm can he do to you?
Oh, none, I'm happy to say. It's too late. I've lived my life. No, it's Sarah's future I'm worried about. She's got to live hers among people with ideas like Lewis's.
Well, why should that harm Sarah? She's old enough to have her own opinions, and she's never been easily influenced. Not since she was a little girl. Sarah's always had a mind of her own.
Yes, you can see which way she's going.
Oh, well, Tony seems a nice boy. I gather they're not rich, the Prices. He won't have a country place or anything like that, but he seems to have a good job in advertising or
He
something.
doesn't strike me as having much of a sense of responsibility.
He's young.
And I'd make him have his hair cut if he was my son.
Unfortunately, Sarah doesn't seem to like him very much. She's so choosy nowadays. I worry about her.
She's not an old maid yet.
She could do a lot worse than Tony Price.
She could do a lot better.
I know it's important to you that Sarah should marry, well, someone suitable. Perhaps it's because of having no son of our own that you're pinning all your hopes on a satisfactory son-in-law. You are, aren't you, darling?
Well, naturally.
Someone brought up in the old traditions.
I should hope so.
Richard, knowing how much you really love Sarah, don't you feel the important thing is her happiness?
Oh, why do you say that?
Well, it's just that I don't think we ought to expect too much. Girls are different nowadays. They won't marry young men of their own kind anymore just to please their parents. Sarah's the type to go in the opposite direction. She's unconventional. Look how she argued against you just now over that schoolmaster.
Oh, I really don't think I can talk or think about that man any longer. The sight of him in here just now, shouting at me and ranting like some Hyde Park tub thunter, made me feel quite ill.
I quite agree. I think we ought to go to the ball now and show the flag.
Which flag? The Union Jack? Or the hammer and sickle? Oh, I wonder what my father would have done in a situation like this. Shall I tell you what he'd have done? He'd not only have thrashed that boy a darn sight harder than I did, he'd have taken his hunting crop to the schoolmaster as well and hunted him out of the county.
That would have been in the 1930s, darling. It's the 1960s now. Things are not quite the same, are they?
Oh, no. Not quite. Pah! Apologize to that lout? I'll see him with the devil first.
No sign of life yet, Mrs. Finch?
Well, Sir Richard was down for breakfast at 9. Her ladyship has hers upstairs. There's only Miss Sarah to come.
Well, I've had breakfast twice today. They produced bacon and eggs at the ball, 3 o'clock this morning.
Oh, I expect you enjoyed yourselves then.
Well, I certainly did. But I think the family were a little put out by that unfortunate visit we had during dinner.
Oh, it really upset me, too. To hear Sir Richard spoken to like that by that sort of person. I don't know what people are coming to nowadays. No respect for anybody or anything. I've never seen Sir Richard upset like that all the time I've been here.
How long is that?
7 years last May. Oh, I've been in service all my life, you know. Always with the nice families. Started as an under housemaid at 18 in London, Chester Square. Sir Joseph and Lady Ackerman. Oh, very nice people. 8 living-in staff had Lady Ackerman. Of course, those days are over now.
They would seem to be.
Still, you don't mind managing like you have to nowadays, not so long as you're working for nice people like Sir Richard and her ladyship. That's what I always say to Mr. Finch.
Has Mr. Finch been in service all his life, too?
Oh, no, sir. When we married, he was working in Bristol for the corporation.
I see. Does he like it here?
Well, it took him some time to get used to it. He was a shop steward, you see, so it was quite a change for him coming here.
I'll bet it was.
Of course, they were in London a lot that first year. That was the year Miss Sarah came out, you see.
Ah, yes, of course. I didn't know her then, but I used to see ravishing photographs of her in the Tatler.
Oh, yes. She was often in the papers and the magazines and that. One of the Debs of the year she was, and so pretty. I used to say to Mr. Finch she'd be snapped up quick, but she hasn't been.
No, not yet.
Oh, here's the master.
Ah, good morning, sir.
Hello, Teddy. Had breakfast, have you?
Yes, thanks, sir. You must have had yours early.
Yes, I had to make rather an important telephone call.
Something to do with that schoolmaster business?
Yes, that schoolmaster business.
I must say, I thought that chap was jolly rude to you last night.
Yes, it was rather distressing.
Oh, there you are, Richard. Finch said you were looking for me.
Yes, I've been speaking to the assistant of the town clerk in Marford. They're all birds of a feather, I'm afraid.
How do you mean?
Well, I rang up to complain about Lewis. Being Saturday, there was nobody in the educational department. So I spoke to this creature. He was completely vague and offhand and couldn't have cared less.
I suppose he was a very junior little clerk of something.
I'm quite sure he was. The least he could have been civil and listened properly to what I had to say. But a perfect right to object to that schoolmaster behaviour last night. Well, after all, the man's a public servant. He's employed by the council, and I'm a ratepayer. I contribute to his salary. I think that occurred to the clerk I spoke to. I might have been an attendant at the public baths for all he cared.
Richard, is it wise?
What do you mean, wise?
Well, isn't it going to make things worse, trying to make trouble for the man with the county council?
Make trouble? What the devil do you think he was doing up here last night? I'm not going to be insulted by a man like that in my own house and do nothing about it.
Good morning. Oh, sorry about not being dressed. Am I forgiven, Daddy?
Oh, I'm sure you are, Sarah.
I meant for coming down in my dressing gown.
You better go and have your breakfast, sir. It's late.
Yes, all right. I will in a moment.
I'm going round the greenhouse to see Finch, then up to look at the horses. Will you come, Richard?
Yes, I suppose so.
Your father's in a mood this morning.
Do you wonder?
Yes, I do, actually. Honestly, for a man in his position to allow himself to be put out by some silly little schoolmaster.
I can't see how you can describe him as silly.
Oh, you are on his side, then. I thought you might be.
That's a very stupid remark. But then I suppose I might have expected something like that from you.
Oh, come on. Give us a kiss and cheer up. Don't be so cold.
Oh, leave me alone, please.
Sarah, what's the matter with you? I thought I was...
Well, what did you think you were?
Well, I hoped I meant something a little more to you than just your lift for the weekend.
Look, Sarah, where's your sense of humour? This business about little Johnny What's-his-name chucking a squib and getting his bottom turned is a farce. Your father quite rightly showed that rude schoolmaster to the door, and that's that. Honestly, everyone's carrying on as though dear Mr. Lewis had challenged your father to a duel, hunting crops at 20 paces or something.
Very funny. You despise Mr. Lewis because of his job. And you're young and post-war. And you ought to know better. You're a snob.
Why am I a snob? I haven't said anything against the man. Actually, I think he's rather splendid. He's got guts and he believes he's got a point to make. But I certainly don't think your father should be driven into the ground by a nobody like that.
Oh, it makes me blush all over. Shame to hear you talk like that.
What a sweet thought. I'd love to see you blush all over.
Oh, it's no good trying to argue with people like you. You're all infantile, and you're arrogant and out of touch with today utterly and hopelessly. All of you.
Go on. Who are we?
All you little half-dead, empty-headed, bowler-hatted Deb's delights, prattling away at cocktail parties in Pont Street.
You go to cocktail parties in Pont Street. I met you at one.
That's not the point.
This is the point. Anyway, if you despise me, I'm afraid I rather despise your somewhat unnatural brand of radicalism. Just because we live in an age when it's fashionable to venerate the unwashed and glorify the inarticulate, and everyone's falling over backwards to prove his father went down the mines, there's no need for you to turn against your own class or its habits. It may have its faults, but it's your class and you should stick with it, and help teach it to move with the times instead of disowning it.
I'm not disowning anything, Tony. I'm simply saying that I will not accept that schoolmaster is a nobody.
But if he's not a nobody, what is he?
He's a responsible person in charge of young minds, moulding them, Tony, moulding them and turning underprivileged children into worthwhile citizens and people. Putting your advertising job alongside that schoolmaster's, well, I still say that he's something and you're nothing.
Not nothing. Just a snob.
Oh, I'm going to get dressed.
Oh, Sarah, please.
Oh, leave me alone. Oh, excuse me, Daddy. I'm going to get dressed.
Now, just a minute, Sarah. I think we better know what that little blackguard of a schoolmaster's done now. Perhaps you won't want to defend him this time.
Oh? What's happened?
A police inspector has just left.
The police?
He came to serve me with a summons for assault.
Oh, no.
Heavens.
Lewis put the boy's mother up to it, of course.
What are you going to do?
Do? I'm going to fight him. If he wants to put me up in court beside a lot of poachers and drunks, let him go ahead. There'll be a lot of mudslinging and nastiness before it's over, and I promise you it won't all come my way.
Excuse me, sir. You're wanted on the phone.
Oh, who is it?
The Evening Standard, sir.
The papers? Already?
Look at it. All over the front page. Oh, why did he have to talk to them?
Well, what else could he do? If he hadn't, they'd still have put it in.
Isn't it awful? Look at this. Baronet unrepentant after assault charge. I was right to do it. And here, this one. Schoolboy alleges flogging. Flogging?
Sounds more like a cat and nine tails than a hunting crop.
Oh, I don't think Daddy should see these. He'll blow up again.
He's already asked what's happened to the Sunday papers.
And what did you tell him?
Well, your dear mamma, after hiding the papers, was about to tell a lie about them. But I spared her the shame by lying to him myself. I said they hadn't come. I'm unscrupulous about things like lies at certain times.
Oh, thank you, Tony. It's only delaying the agony until he's seen Colonel Whittaker. Otherwise, he'd be in such a rage all day, he'd make no sense at all.
Well, what can Whittaker do, anyway? Even the chief constable can hardly sack the policeman who served the summons.
Oh, Father seems to think he can put the machinery of the law into reverse simply by pressing a button. Just because they shoot each other's pheasants. He can't see that he won't get anywhere by fighting the case.
I agree. Public opinion these days is firmly on the side of the proletariat. Whatever your father does now, he can't win.
Yes, I'm afraid that's true.
A baronet up for assaulting a schoolboy will always make a splendid headline for the press, even if it is only a smack on the bottom for trespassing. They'll have him on the telly next and crucify him in public.
Oh, Tony, I'm so worried.
Well, don't be. There's not much you can do anyway.
I'm sorry I had to drag you into all this.
You didn't drag me. I volunteered to come.
You're terribly calm and unruffled, aren't you?
Well, it's easy for me. I'm only a spectator. My family's not involved.
I feel absolutely torn in two pieces. Like being on the rack.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Sort of mixed up. But not, you know...
Yeah, not a crazy, mixed-up kid.
Perhaps I am.
No. You're just mixed up emotionally about your father and our friend. Divided loyalties, I think they call it.
I suppose so.
You couldn't manage to get emotionally mixed up about me, I suppose.
You are funny, aren't you?
I amuse you.
Well, at least it's a help to have someone around who's got a sense of humour.
And a car. And a dinner jacket.
Oh, you've got a little more than that, Tony. Oh, now who can that be? Oh, I hope it isn't someone else from the newspapers.
It's a small, rather ramshackle car. I say it's Lewis.
Lewis?
Yes. And there's a woman with him. Now what?
Well, there's only one thing we can do. Mrs. Finch?
Yes, Miss Sarah?
Mr. Lewis has just arrived with a friend. Would you show them in, please? Good morning, Mr. Lewis. I'm afraid my father's gone out. Is there anything I can do? We sort of met on Friday night, didn't we, when you were here? Oh, and I think you met Mr. Price, too.
Yes, you did. Good morning.
I brought Mrs. Martin with me, but she'd rather stay outside in the car. Anyway, there's not much point if your father's out. We'll have to come back later.
Perhaps you could tell me what it is you wanted to see him about, and I could pass it on.
Very well. First of all, Mrs. Martin is the mother of the boy who...
Yes, I quite understand. We know all about it.
Well, when your father decided not to apologize for the offense he committed against her son, I warned him that further action would be taken.
It has been. The police came and served a summons on him just before lunch.
I know they did.
And you still insist that the boy was assaulted by Sir Richard, do you?
Yes, I do. Mrs. Martin went to the police yesterday on my advice and laid the necessary evidence. I understand the case will be heard on Thursday of next week.
Then why have you come here now? What more do you want?
I come to offer him one last chance to apologize to Mrs. Martin, both personally and through the local press.
I think you're wasting your time. The damage is already done. The London papers have got hold of the story now. I dare say you've seen them.
I haven't seen today's papers.
Oh. Anyway, I don't think Sir Richard is likely to apologize for doing something he believes was absolutely justified. So I think you'd better take the good lady back to Marford and make sure she knows what to say in the witness box next week.
Well, perhaps as Sir Richard's daughter, you would like to confirm that your father still refuses to apologize, if that is the case.
I can't do that. I just don't know. Not until it's put to him a second time. But I would like to talk to you, privately.
It doesn't look as though that's going to be possible.
You're quite right, it's not.
What do you mean, Tony?
I mean that you and our friend here aren't going to be able to talk privately because I'm going to be here.
Tony, please. I want you to go and leave me to talk to Mr. Lewis alone. Do as I ask, will you?
She'll be quite safe with me, don't worry.
Is that really what you want? To be left alone with this character?
Yes, Tony, it is. I want to talk to him alone.
Okay, if that's what you want.
And if you want to do something really helpful, perhaps you drive Mrs. Martin back into Marford in your car, just to save her waiting. Oh, she's outside in Mr. Lewis's car.
Yes, all right. Absolutely delighted. Anything to help. Whereabouts does the good woman live?
Up behind the station. She'll show you. That's very decent of you. Thank you.
Not at all. Pleasure. Oh, and incidentally, what has Mrs. Martin done with her afflicted son? Is he in the car, too?
No, he's with the people next door.
Uh-huh. Still showing off his bruises?
Probably.
Well, come and sit down.
Thank you.
I think I ought to tell you before we go any further that I'm not entirely on my father's side in this matter. Oh, but I certainly don't think you ought to have gone as far as a summons for assault.
Look, I've already told you I'm prepared to abandon the case in exchange for an apology. Those were always the conditions.
I don't think anyone of my father's generation should have to apologize for doing something he didn't know was legally wrong. Still less appear in court for it.
If your father didn't know that flogging a schoolboy with a whip was legally wrong, isn't it time somebody told him?
I still don't think it was necessary for you to intervene and bring in the police.
Whether he realized his guilt or not, it was necessary for me to make an example of him.
Why? Just tell me why.
Look, I'm not prepared to go over it again or justify my actions. Your father knows my views. I suggest you keep out of it.
I'd like you to answer me just one question, and answer it honestly.
Oh, put your question by all means.
If that same little boy, Alan Martin, was it?
Yes?
If he'd thrown a firework around Marford railway station and got a thrashing from one of the porters, would you have taken the same action against the porter?
No. No. I wouldn't have advised Mrs. Martin to go to the police and lay evidence of assault against a porter on the railway.
I thought you wouldn't. Now tell me, why not?
Because my intervention in the matter wouldn't be necessary. The mother could do it herself if she felt like it. She'd be exercising her rights in her own social sphere. But for a woman of her position in society to take on the lord of the manor single-handed needs a lot of guts, even today.
She'd have the police on her side?
Do you think so? Who's the chief constable of this county?
Well, Colonel Whittaker. Why?
Does your father know him personally?
Yes, he does. They're very old friends. As a matter of fact, my father and mother motored over to lunch with Colonel and Mrs. Whittaker this morning. That's why they're not here.
Oh, I'll make no further comment.
I know what you're trying to suggest.
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm simply helping you to assess Mrs. Martin's chances of success. A lone widow of Marford versus the entire establishment.
That's utter nonsense, and you know it. You're oversimplifying and twisting situations to suit your purpose. I'm afraid I believe in tolerance. And what you're doing is not tolerant. It's blind, ignorant hatred of a whole section of the people, whatever they're like. I'm sorry for you, because hatred is sick and self-destructive, and in the end, the haters are the losers.
You're a very silly, ignorant girl. It's time you went back to Rodine and learnt a bit of history.
All right, be insulting and rude if it makes you feel better.
It does.
I won't remind you that you're my guest, because I don't suppose a thing like being rude to people in their own homes goes particularly against your code of behavior.
Well. Look, why don't you cool down and have a cigarette?
I'm too upset and disappointed.
Disappointed?
Yes, disappointed in you. Oh, I rather admired you for coming here on Friday night and standing up to my father like you did. I saw your point of view, you see. In fact, I had quite a row with him after you'd gone. And I thought that if I talked to you myself and tried to explain why my father did what he did, you might be a big enough, intelligent enough person to drop the whole thing. After all, you've made your point.
Not yet. There must either be a public apology or a court case, one or the other. The principle must be seen to be upheld.
Well, all I can say is if you insist on going right through to the end to get your pound of flesh, then go ahead. Drag my father through the courts if you must.
I intend to.
Make him appear in public like a bloodthirsty medieval despot and satisfy your sick prejudice. That's what you want, isn't it?
No, it is not.
Well, you've made a pretty good start already in the Sunday papers. I think we'd better end this fruitless discussion. You're obviously every bit as bigoted and intolerant as you say we are. What's the matter with you? Are you tongue-tied now?
Yes. Absolutely speechless.
Why have you got to spend all this time and energy stirring up a pathetic little local scandal in a pathetic little local town like Marford?
I'm simply trying to uphold a very important principle.
You've said that before, and it's a downright lie. You're going for him because you hate everything he stands for. And I'd like to know what happened to you in childhood to leave you so full of hatred. Were you beaten with a strap? Did your parents quarrel over you or neglect you? Or did you starve in the gutter? Or are you the way you are because you're useless to girls? That was unforgivable. Cheap and horrible. And I'm desperately sorry. Oh, after all I said, to insult you in my home. Now you can go away and hate both my father and me equally.
That won't be necessary. I've never hated anyone for expressing an opinion, and I hope I never will. Please, stop crying. I lost my temper, and I'm sorry.
I deserved it. How you must loathe me now.
I don't loathe you.
Oh, how could I say things like that to you when I don't even know if you're married?
I'm not.
Oh, but you do. You do sometimes go out with girls or have girls as friends. I mean, you are.
Normal? What do you think?
I'm always curious about men who haven't married. It's a natural curiosity for a girl who hasn't married, that's all. Do you think that since you've just hit me pretty hard right across the face, I could call you by your first name?
Well, that's entirely up to you.
Then I will. David. It is David, isn't it?
Yes.
David, I want to ask you something.
Go ahead.
You reacted very violently just now when I said something to you about being useless with girls. You slapped me rather hard. Did I perhaps touch you on a sensitive spot?
You want to know why I slapped you at that moment?
Yes, I do.
Because you were becoming hysterical. I had to stop you.
I don't believe it.
You just want to probe my sex life very badly, don't you? Do all your boyfriends get this kind of Freudian grilling?
What did she do to you, David? Humiliate you?
You've got to know, haven't you? And I've got to satisfy your curiosity, if only to pay for my coffee. All right. There was a girl. Once upon a time. There was one, yes.
Can you tell me about it? I want to know. I must know.
Very well. She was a girl of about 17, I suppose. I was a grocer's delivery boy. I used to call there regularly, and somehow I got chatting with her. She was a nice-looking girl with long hair, quite plump. Catherine. She was bored. One afternoon, when I called with the order, I found she was alone in the flat, in her dressing gown. She invited me in and gave me a cup of tea. Then she asked me to make love to her.
Go on.
I told her I didn't think we should. She got angry and impatient and told me I was wasting her time. She said she always thought working-class boys knew what to do, or she wouldn't have suggested it. She tried to push me away, but by that time I wasn't having it. I was going to show her. Suddenly, someone pulled me to my feet by my hair. It was her father. The girl started to scream and cry and say I'd forced her against her will. He fetched me a whack across the face and told me to go and seduce someone of my own class.
Oh, no.
I just stood there, feeling dizzy. And I felt like a piece of dirt.
And that made you hate rich people or girls in general?
Well, neither. It was, well, just an experience. I thought you might be interested to hear it.
I was. Very. But am I to understand that you're making my father pay for snobbery? Haven't you got your classes a bit confused?
Oh, not at all. What I'm fighting against is what he and your father have in common. Influence and privilege through wealth.
Are you sure that's really true? Are you certain you're not fighting something that girl's father said to you?
Such as?
Go and seduce someone of your own class. Didn't that stick in your throat? Just a little?
If I said it did, you'd be satisfied, wouldn't you? You'd be able to close the file on David Lewis as a sexually backward schoolmaster with a class complex and a psychopathic hatred of country squires. But it's nothing to do with class in the old sense. It's to do with a misuse of power. Would you like to put that on the file and close it?
Yes, I would. But it still wouldn't solve the problem of my father's appearance before the magistrates on a charge of assault, would it?
Oh, you're a fighter, I'll say that for you.
So are you. Just as stubborn as you can be. Oh, I don't know whether to hate you or admire you.
I thought you disapproved of hating.
Oh, I do.
Then you'll have to admire me, won't you?
I do, up to a point. And I'd like you to stay and have lunch with us. Will you?
Us?
Me and Tony, when he gets back.
Thank you. I accept your invitation with pleasure.
Good. Oh, I still think you're being unreasonable about the summons, but I don't think we ought to discuss it anymore. It's a matter between you and my father. Oh, Daddy. Daddy, you're hurt. Oh, have you had an accident?
We were attacked by some youths on the other side of Marford, by the railway bridge.
They were on motorbikes, all dressed up like Nazi troopers in black leather tunics and helmets and jackboots and covered in badges. Ah! One of them turned across the road right in front of me. I had to brake pretty hard to avoid him. Then one of them chucked a brick through the side window of the car, and the broken glass cut my wrist.
Oh, no.
Fortunately, it missed your mother.
Have you told the police?
No, not yet. We decided. Just a minute. May I ask what you are doing here, Lewis?
Oh, he came to see you, to make a suggestion for a settlement.
Well, let me make a suggestion to you, Lewis. Call off your thugs.
My thugs?
You know what I'm talking about.
Why should there be anything to do with Mr. Lewis? It's in all the newspapers, Father. Everyone in Marford
I
knows.
hope you're proud of your achievement.
I'm sorry that violence seems to have bred
Well,
violence.
you've certainly succeeded in breeding violence, all right. Now go, please. Go on, get out of my sight.
I've invited Mr. Lewis to stay for lunch. He's my guest.
You heard what I said, Lewis.
Surely you're not going to forget your manners towards a guest in your own home.
Don't you worry about me, Sarah. I shall spare your father the embarrassment by leaving of my own accord. I'd rather not put him in such a difficult social quandary.
I've invited Mr. Lewis to lunch. And if you won't have him to lunch in this house, then I shall take him out to lunch at my own expense in Marford. In a cafe or something.
Very well, Sarah. Go. Go with your friend. Go on. You're perfectly free to do as you wish.
I suggest you come and have lunch with me as my guest, Sarah. That will save a lot of argument. I've some corned beef and a little tin soup at my digs.
That sounds perfect. Thank you, David. I accept.
Sarah, what on earth do you think you're doing?
I'm sorry, Mummy, but this is how it's going to be.
No, leave her, Marjorie. If she chooses to be disloyal and treacherous, the sooner she's out of the house, the better. She's not worth arguing with. I've finished with her.
Shall we go then, Sarah?
I think we'd better. This house is beginning to suffocate me.
Ah, there you are, Sarah. Mrs. Finch wants to know if you're staying to supper or not. You and Tony.
No, we won't be staying. We'll be leaving as soon as we're packed.
I see. Where is Tony?
Oh, I don't know. Isn't he here?
Nobody's seen him since just before lunch. Finch saw his car going down the drive.
And he's not back yet?
Apparently not.
Oh.
We thought you might know where he was.
He went into Marford, but that was hours ago.
Have you quarrelled with him?
I seem to have quarrelled with just about everyone this weekend. Everyone.
Oh, there, darling. You don't have to make your peace with me. It's your father, isn't it? He's very hurt. You know that, don't you?
Yes. I've hurt him terribly, and I'm very sorry. Oh, I wish he understood.
It's none of my business what you've been doing since you went off at lunchtime with that man. You're old enough to know your own mind, I hope, but it is getting on for 8 o'clock, and I think you ought to go and see Daddy. At least tell him you're back. He's very worried about you, darling, because he loves you very much. I sometimes wonder if you realize quite how much.
Oh, I know he loves me. I'm his daughter. But I don't want that kind of love, nursery love. I want him to realize that I've grown up and I'm capable of thinking for myself. I've a right to my own opinion, surely.
Oh, I think he realizes that, darling, but it's been rather a shock for him. We've never faced a situation like this before, as a family, have we? We've always managed the few weekends you've been here to laugh and have fun and avoid arguing about politics and things. And he's seen so little of you over the last 5 or 6 years since you left home that he still looks on you as a child. Fathers have a way of doing that, you know.
You don't, though, do you?
Not altogether. I didn't always get on with my father, but, well, I wouldn't have spoken to my father like you did. It was very thoughtless, my darling. You find that man attractive, don't you?
Who, Tony?
Mr. Lewis.
Oh, I think he's a very interesting and worthwhile person. He's quite a sense of humour, you know. It's remarkable how different people can be once you get close to them.
Did you have lunch in a cafe
or
no. Somewhere?
No, in his rooms. He lives over the fish shop in the High Street.
Oh.
We made soup in his kitchenette and we opened a tin of sardines. Then I came back on the bus. Oh, I wouldn't let him drive me back, you see. He had all his essays to correct for tomorrow.
What did you find to talk about all afternoon?
Oh, life, politics, religion, his work, his ambitions.
Sex?
Oh, yes, sex. In an abstract sort of way.
And you like him?
I respect him. I find him very intelligent and very interesting. Oh, but I'm not in love with him, if that's what you're thinking.
Yes, of course I was.
Well, it's nothing like that at all, darling, I promise you. Oh, Tony. Oh, Tony, thank goodness you've come.
Hello. Are you all right? All in one piece, I hope. Where's Lewis? He looked like getting dug in for the afternoon. I'm sorry I didn't get back for lunch. I took some people in Marford to the pictures.
We were just beginning to wonder where you'd got to. Was it a good film?
I honestly couldn't tell you. Alan asked so many idiot questions I couldn't follow the plot.
Alan?
Alan Martin, the little chap your father chastised. First we picked up the little perisher from his minders next door, and then we had some fish and chips from the van by the station. Then I bought the lad an ice cream cornet, most of which he poured onto my trousers, and some sweets for Mum, and the 3 of us had a jolly afternoon in the 3 and 9s at the Rex.
Good heavens, so that's where you've been.
What an afternoon. Alan nudging me every 5 minutes with his dripping cornet to ask me questions, Mum Martin telling him to shut up, a couple behind us munching potato crisps, and the actors shouting accusations at each other. It was chaos. The 4th time Martin's ice cream cornet dribbled over my trousers, his mum belted him with her handbag, nearly knocked him out of his seat. Talk about assault and battery.
What did you talk about all the afternoon?
Oh, all sorts of things. About fields and fences and private property and trespassing and stud farms and how horses are born. And how some people love their animals more than their fellow men.
Oh, Tony.
And then I left them at their little house, and here I am. Well, I'll go and change and get myself packed. Coming, Sarah?
Oh, yes, in a moment.
Oh, hello, sir. Any silver linings yet?
No, not yet, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, I'm sure there will be, sir. Bound to be.
Well, I'll go and put your things in your case, Sarah. Stay here and talk to your father.
Yes, all right. Thanks, Mummy.
So, you're leaving before supper, are you?
Yes, otherwise we get back to London so late, you see, and we both have to get to work tomorrow.
Oh, yes, indeed, I see, yes. Well, let us know when you want to come for the weekend again.
Oh, yes, of course I will.
Perhaps in the spring, when the weather gets a bit warmer.
Yes, probably. It's a bit early to say now.
Yes, of course it is, yes.
I think perhaps I'd better go up and help Mummy. She won't know what to pack.
No, of course. Well, all right, Sarah. Go up to your mother.
Oh,
Oh, sir, that schoolmaster's here. He says he's got something important to say to you.
You'd better ask him in then, Mrs. Finch.
Are you sure, sir?
Yes, Mrs. Finch, quite sure. Show him in, please.
All right. He'll see you if you come in, please.
Thank you. I've come to tell you, and I'm sure you'll be relieved to hear it, that I intend to stop this prosecution for assault.
Do you? And what about your demand for an apology?
We'll forget about the apology. I think you've been humiliated enough already.
What are your conditions, your terms?
There aren't any. As far as I'm concerned, I've won my point. And there's another thing, too. When this thing started, I hadn't had the pleasure of meeting your daughter, Sarah. I happen to respect her very much, and, well, if there were a few more like her in the world, there'd be some hope for the aristocracy.
What are you trying to suggest by that, Louis?
Nothing beyond what I just said.
I want the truth, Louis. Is she in love with you?
Why not ask her yourself? Or aren't you speaking to each other?
Will you please answer my question?
All right, let me make it clear that there is nothing between me and your daughter but mutual respect and understanding, and I intend to stop prosecution simply because there is no further point to be made. You'd only be fined a small sum of money.
Well, that's open to question, and personally I doubt it.
Very well, then. You can prove it if you wish by attending court.
And that's exactly what I propose to do. I intend to appear in court next Thursday, whether you like it or not, and tell the whole story. All of it. Then we'll see who comes off best. The public will see you for what you are. An embittered man, trying to smear and discredit me over a trivial incident. Well, the chairman of the bench happens to be a personal friend of mine. He's fond of horses, and he's a man of my own generation.
Naturally. That's my point.
And of course he'll have to fine me for technical assault. Because that's the law. He's bound to support the police. 10 till 1, he'll say the charge has never been brought, and I hope he raps you over the knuckles for wasting the police's time and the public's money.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Major, but your conviction is of no further interest to me, so the case will not be heard.
It is not for you to say. You can't stop it now. It's in the hands of the police.
There can be no case without evidence. If no evidence for the prosecution is offered, the hearing will be cancelled.
The police are the evidence. They've got Mrs. Martin's statement. She can't go back on it now.
She can't be forced to give evidence.
We'll soon find out about that. I shall ring up the chief constable.
That's right. Rally the forces of the establishment.
Leave my house at once, will you? For the last time, get out. I never want to see you here again.
As you wish, Major.
David. Oh, David, I didn't know you were here.
Mr. Lewis is going.
I came to tell your father that I'm willing to stop the case being heard in court. Now, it seems, he prefers to go through with it. He's made up his mind, and I regret it very much.
Oh, stop fighting each other. I can't bear it anymore. Oh, please don't go on hating like this. It's so pointless and stupid. Please try to understand each other, can't you? Please.
I told you on Friday evening, Sarah, and I repeat it now. Either he's right or I'm right. We can't both be right. You've got to choose which.
There's a letter for you, Richard. A woman on a cycle brought it to the back door. She's gone now. She said there wouldn't be an answer.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Oh, look, I'm afraid I left my glasses upstairs. Would you mind?
Oh, all right. It appears to be from Mrs. Martin and her son. This one is the one from the mother. Dear Sir Richard, I've told them at the police station I don't want any more trouble over my boy and what he done last Thursday. He is sorry to cause all the trouble and sends letter enclosed he wrote on his own. Yours truly, Gertrude Martin. Oh, and, then there's this one. This is the one from the boy. Dear Sir Richard, I know now it was wrong of me and my... he's crossed out mates and put friends, my friends, to throw the bangers in your place where the horses are. I'm very sorry it happened. I deserved the punishment you gave me, and I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused you. I hope the horse will have her baby okay and no harm done. Yours faithfully, Alan Martin.
It took guts to write that letter off his own bat.
Yes, it's the hardest thing in the world to admit one's in the wrong and apologize. Only very strong people can afford to do that.
Well, if you see Mrs. Martin at the school tomorrow, Mr. Lewis, perhaps you would tell her we're very touched by Alan's letter, and hers, and that I'll be writing to her. When the foal is born, Alan might like to come up here for tea one day with his mother, and we could show it to him, if he's interested.
I'll tell her. I'm sure the boy will appreciate your invitation. If you still want that case to be heard in court, I suggest you produce those letters as an admission of the boy's guilt.
No, I don't think that'll be necessary, Lewis. Or desirable. No, the letter's addressed to me personally, and what's in them is still and always was a private matter between the boy, his mother, and myself. Nothing to do with anybody else. Nothing. No, the case will be stopped at once. The boy's apologized. That's enough for me. And his mother wants no more trouble. I think we should respect her wishes.
Well, that suits me. At least we've reached agreement on something. No court case. Well, that's that. I'll go now.
Would you could have a drink before you go?
Well, I have a lot of work. Well, as your daughter will tell you, 18 essays to correct before tomorrow morning.
I see. Well, some other time.
Yes, some other time.
Are you ready, Tony? I think we ought to go now. It's getting late.
Okay. I said, well, thanks awfully for having me.
Well, I'm afraid it wasn't a very cheerful weekend for you. I'm so sorry.
Not at all. It was fascinating. Thank you very much. Goodbye, Sir Richard.
Well, off you go then. Go on, both of you. You must come again soon, Tony.
Oh, thanks.
Goodbye, Daddy. Bye-bye, Mummy.
Bye-bye, darling. Drive carefully, won't you, Tony?
Yes, I will.
Enjoy yourselves. Sarah called him a drip the other night and said he wasn't her type. They do change their minds, the young.
Oh, he's not a bad chap. I just wish he'd get his hair cut.
We'll have to have Mr. Lewis up here for a drink sometime.
I suppose so.
Oh, we can always get a few other people and it won't be so bad.
What sort of people?
Well, we could always ask Dr. Watts and his wife, and the vicar, I suppose, and that little man with the stables over at Upton. What's his name? Captain Matthews. And his son, the estate agent. It's time we had them. Perhaps Mr. Mills at the back. He's so awfully good about the Red Cross.
You have just heard Heat of the Moment, written by R.G. Moore. It was produced in Durban by Tom Meehan at the studios of Springbok Radio Productions.
My name's Jimmy. What's yours?
Susan.
That's a nice name. What are we going to do, Susan?
What do you mean, what are we going to do?
Well, this rain looks like it's settled in for the day. Can't stay here forever.
Well, I'm going home.
Would you like to do something exciting? Really exciting?
Like what?
Well, you know the old Luxor cinema.
It's been closed for about 2 months.
Yeah, I know, but there's a way of getting in. I often go in. There's still quite a lot of stuff left. It's great fun. Why don't you come in with me?
Well, I don't think I want to.
Come on, Susan, you'd love it. And it's out of the rain.
Good evening. This is Peter Tobin introducing... Lux Radio Theatre. Tonight and every Monday night at this time, Lux Radio Theatre presents for your entertainment the finest in radio drama. Tonight we bring you Out of the Rain by Jerry Jones. Just a simple boy meets girl situation. A chance meeting in a rain-lashed beach shelter. That is how the opening of tonight's Lux Radio Theatre may have seemed to you. But is this young man, Jimmy, as simple and naive as he appears to be? For Susan's sake, you would no doubt hope so. But listen to this gripping psychological study, Out of the Rain. Go with Jimmy and Susan into the deserted cinema. Share her terrors and her torment as master craftsman Jerry Jones unfolds his story. And don't miss a word.
discover Lux and discover why more beautiful women the world over choose Lux than any other beauty soap. Discover the new, milder, creamier lather of Lux, a lather enriched with exotic natural oils to keep your skin soft and beautiful. Discover the precious new perfume in Lux, a fragrance that seeps gently into your skin, leaving you provocatively fragrant. Lux perfumed. Then join the world's most beautiful women who entrust their skin's loveliness to Lux every day. The first touch of the mild silken lather will make Lux yours forever.
Hey, everything's suddenly starting to swing.
It's this new Sunsilk hairspray, all clean and natural.
But the whole world looks different.
It's this new Sunsilk hairspray with texture and a condition. Lets a girl be softly lovable and groomed like a lady. All in one.
Well, I'll put my last scent on it. I smell spring.
Just this new Sunsilk hairspray that doesn't fight with my perfume. And it brushes right out when everything's over, leaving nothing sticky icky behind.
Baby, things sure have changed.
Since new Sunsilk hairspray with Textralam, it holds the swings that...
I like it.
And now Act One of tonight's Lux Radio Theatre presentation, Out of the Rain.
Hello, then. You got caught out too, did you? Mind if I share this shelter with you? Any port in a storm? Oh, charming, isn't it?
Pardon?
Charming. The weather, charming. Oh, look at it. Cats and dogs. Oh, I don't know. Nice for ducks, though, I suppose.
I suppose it is.
Hey, look at the sea there, crashing up on the prom. Hard to believe that a month ago there were people lying down there getting brown. Oh, mind you, I like it when it's rough. The rougher the better as far as I'm concerned. When I was a kid, I used to come down here on rough days and run along that sea wall, dodging the waves, crashing up. I used to pretend they were shells exploding, and if I got to the far end of the sea wall without getting hit by a wave, I was given a medal. Funny what you do when you're kids, isn't it?
Is it?
Of course it is. Still, you're only young once, aren't you? Of course you are. Hey, you see that bandstand over there? Well, a month ago, there was a brass band playing there and people in deck chairs.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you live here, then?
Well, I'd hardly come for a holiday at this time of year, would I?
Oh, I don't know. Lots of people do.
They must be dogs.
Oh, definitely. What are you reading?
It's nosy, aren't you?
Oh, I mean, we're stuck here in the wet. There's no point in being standoffish, is there? Ships that pass in the night, as my father always said.
Well, it's a love story, if you must know.
Oh, bags of passion, is there?
Well, not so far.
How much have you read of it?
About halfway, if you must know.
That can't be any good, then. Chuck it away.
I happen to be enjoying it, thank you.
Oh, well, each to his taste. My name's Jimmy. What's yours?
Susan.
Susan? Oh, that's a nice name.
Well, I ate it.
No, it's a nice name. Sort of posh, you know. Smoke?
No, thank you.
Sure?
I don't smoke.
Now, go on, have one.
I said I don't smoke.
No bad habits? Are you frightened of me?
Of course not.
Not even a little bit?
No, not even a little bit.
You got a match, please, Susan? Thanks. Why do you carry matches if you don't smoke? Yeah, you do smoke, don't you?
All right, I smoke.
I knew you did. I saw the nicotine stain on your fingers. That's why I asked you for some matches just to check.
Well, look, what's all this supposed to prove?
Well, it proves you're frightened of me. You didn't want to accept a cigarette because you're frightened of me. Why are you frightened of me, Susan?
I'm not.
Girls aren't usually frightened of me. Girls usually like me. I like you. You're young and you're pretty. Oh, yeah, I reckon you'll smash him.
I will have a cigarette, I think.
That's better. Yeah. Friends now?
All right.
Yeah, I reckon you're lovely. Working in hairdressers, do you?
Well, how do you know?
Well, just a guess. You got nice hair.
You're a funny person, aren't you?
Maybe.
Where do you work?
Oh, here and there. Can't stand a job for long. Get cheesed off. You know what I mean? I'll get a job one day, though. A proper job. Make a name for myself.
Oh, sure.
No, straight up, really. I'll really get somewhere. I'll get away from here.
What do you think you'll be? Prime Minister?
Nah, shouldn't think so. Haven't got the right voice for that. But something, something.
Sure, something.
Should have put a Mac on somewhere. Right, Charlie, I am. Getting caught in the rain without a Mac. I worked in the amusement park for a bit once. On the Dodgem cars. Oh, I liked it. Bit of life on the Dodgems. I like the smell of a fairground. It's exciting. I like the smell of leather, too. I like the smell of your raincoat.
You're a nutcase.
Well, leather's got a nice smell. Yeah, a nice smell.
Oh, glad you like it.
Seaside towns out of season are deadly, aren't they, eh? Look at it. Wet and deadly.
Well, it's nice in the summer, though.
Sometimes.
Oh, I like it.
Summer, winter. Same old jazz.
Oh, it's the same for everyone.
What are we going to do?
What do you mean?
Well, this rain looks like it's settled in for the day. We can't stay here forever.
Well, I'm going home.
Susan, would you like to do something exciting? Really exciting?
Like what?
Well, you know the old Luxor cinema?
It's been empty for about 2 months.
Yeah, I know, but there's a way of getting in. I often go in there. There's still quite a lot of stuff left. It's great fun. Why don't you come in with me?
Well, I don't think I want to.
Oh, come on, Susan. You'd love it. And it's out of the rain.
Oh, we could get pinched for going in there.
Who would know?
No, I don't want to.
All right. Please yourself.
Well, we could go for a cup of tea if you like. There's a cafe just down on the prom.
The Ace Cafe, do you mean? That's a jump.
I could do with a warm drink.
Do you perm?
What?
Do you perm? Do you do perms in your hairdressing shop?
Of course we do.
Do any men come in for perms?
The ladies' shop's stupid.
Yeah, but men do have perms, don't they? Well, don't they?
Well, I suppose so.
I had a perm once. An own perm. I did it myself.
You did?
Yeah, but it didn't work. I couldn't have done it properly, could I?
Look, are there any more at home like you?
No, just me.
Bet your mother's glad of it.
My mother's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not. She was an old witch.
Oh, you shouldn't say that.
Perhaps not, but she was an old witch all the same. I bet men film stars have perms.
Oh, maybe.
I'll bet they do. That was loud, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Does thunder frighten you?
Well, I can't say I like it.
Oh, I don't mind it. I quite like the thunder. Used to hate it when I was little, though. I used to think it was a devil rolling big boulders across the sky.
Oh, what a funny idea.
Funny what you think of when you're kissing it. I don't like lightning, though. Lightning scares me.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. It just sort of scares me. Anyway, you hear about people being killed by lightning, don't you?
Well, not very often.
No, but it happens, don't it?
Oh, yeah, it happens.
People under trees, you see. You shouldn't go under trees when there's lightning about.
I don't.
No, that's right. You just keep away from them.
You talk enough, don't you?
What?
I said you're fond of talking.
Well, am I boring you?
Oh, no, it's all right.
Well, I mean, just say if I'm boring
Look,
you.
I said it was all right.
Yeah, if you mind about it, I'll go away.
Really, I don't mind.
I'm only trying to be friendly, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Some people think I'm cocky. Do you think I'm cocky? I wasn't always like this, you know. I used to be very shy as a little boy. I wouldn't say a word.
Oh, I bet.
No, honest. My mother used to say, well, say something then. You've got a tongue in your head, haven't you? Talk to your auntie. Say hello to your auntie. So I'd say, hello, auntie. My mother would say, kiss your auntie then. So I'd kiss me auntie on the cheek. Oh, I used to hate it. But she gave me 6 months. Yeah, I used to hate kissing people when I was little. I still do, come to that. There's something nasty about it, don't you think?
I think you're silly. Kissing's marvelous.
You like it, Susan? Really like it?
Oh, of course.
Does it give you a thrill? I mean, when you kiss, do you get a thrill?
Well, it depends on who I'm kissing.
Yeah. I think the Eskimos have got the right idea. They just rub noses. That's much nicer. Perhaps I should have been an Eskimo, don't you think?
You know, you're always asking questions.
What do you mean?
Well, you're always saying, don't you think? Don't you think?
Don't you like questions?
There you go again.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to find out things, you see. Life's too short. There's lots to do. You're a long time dead.
Well, the way you're going on, you won't last much longer, that's for sure.
I don't mind death. Don't worry me. It worries some people, but not me. No, not me, Susan.
Yeah, we're being a bit morbid, aren't we?
Don't you like being morbid?
No, I don't.
What do you like?
Oh, I like... Oh, enjoying myself.
Yeah, so do I. I'm enjoying myself now, Susan. I like being with you.
Can't think why.
Because you're nice and because you let me talk. People don't talk enough, you know. Everybody should talk more. I mean, if I'd been just an ordinary bloke, I'd have just sat here in this shelter with you and not said a word, would I?
We'd have just sat here like a couple of statues looking at the rain. Hey, that's a good title for a book, isn't it? Statues in the Rain. Yes. I'm going to write a book one day, you know. People don't talk enough. They want to talk, but they don't. I mean, if we don't ask, we won't learn, will we? For instance, did you know that a 1905 motor car had an automatic overhead inlet valve and a mechanically operated exhaust valve and was fitted with a treble coil ignition?
What?
Well, there you are, you see. Now, if I hadn't have told you that, you'd never have known.
No.
If I was a director, I'd order everybody to chat for 10 hours a day. And not to relations and that, but to strangers. To people they'd never even seen before.
Hey, did you say you were going to write a book?
Yeah, of course I am. I can do it, you know. I was always good at writing compositions at school. Teacher's pet, I was. Always added in red ink in my report. Compositions show verve. That's what it used to say. Verve.
Yeah, but writing compositions is a bit different to writing a book.
Not really. It's all imagination, you see. That's what counts. Now, I got bags of imagination. I'm full of it. Some people say I've got too much in imagination, but I reckon you can't have too much. Anyway, it's only jealousy. They're jealous of me. Susan, they're jealous of me because they can see I'm going to be somebody one day. Really going to be somebody, Susan. You believe it, don't you? You believe it?
Stop gripping my arm like that. You're hurting me.
I'm sorry. Really, I'm sorry.
Oh, keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be surprised if I get a big bruise on my arm now.
Don't have my own strength, you see.
Big bruise on my arm will look terrible when I go dancing.
Do you like dancing?
How am I going to explain a big bruise on my arm?
So you knocked it.
Knocked it?
Well, I thought I was only holding your lightly.
You know what force did.
Well, I said I'm sorry. I can't say more.
Must be mad getting hold of me like that.
Don't be angry, Susan.
Cut it out.
Yes, sir. No, sir. The bag's full, sir.
What?
Your arm's still hurting.
It.
I am sorry about it, you know.
Okay. Well, let's forget about it, shall we? What you thinking about?
I was wondering what it'd be like to swim on a day like this. Come on. We'll go and have that cup of tea. We'll have to run for it. Come on. Talk about when the rains come. Oh, blimey. Well, we're sitting in the corner here by the window, eh? Busy little place, isn't it? You think there's anyone here? Perhaps they've hibernated for the winter. Perhaps we're the only people left alive in the whole flipping world, eh? Here, look. Look.
What?
Look on the wall there. There's a fly climbing up the window. That's dead funny, that is. That's dead funny.
What's funny?
You know the old saying, where do flies go in the wintertime? Well, now we know. They come to the A's Cafe. Look at it. Look at that climbing there. Slow, ever so slow. It's a big, fat, dopey old fly. Hello, fly. Enjoying yourself? Even in the winter, then?
Oh.
Now you're dead. No more winters.
Yeah, what do you do that for?
It was only a fly. Service. I mean, they're getting the hot dogs ready. Yeah, I'm soaked. I'm ruddy well soaked. Service! Service!
All right. Have a bit of patience.
Patience, he says. We've been here half an hour.
No, you haven't. I heard you come in.
Well, what have you been doing, then?
Feeding a dog, if you want to know.
Flipping marvellous. Dogs before customers, now.
What do you want?
Teas. 2 teas, and don't you go giving us any cracked cups either.
Any more lip from you, and out you go, Sonny Jim.
You've got to think about hygiene, haven't you? You can't be too careful. That's the trouble today. Not enough hygiene.
Both take sugar and milk.
There was a great big fly on the wall just now. Flies are full of germs, riddled with them.
Sugar and milk.
Yes, please.
The same for me.
Right.
Look, they've got a jukebox. Let's have a go. Come on, let's dance.
Well, I don't think we should.
Don't be silly. Come on.
Look, don't you ever take no for an answer?
Sometimes.
Yeah, cut it out. Where do you think this place is? A local pally?
We're just having a bit of fun, that's all.
Never mind a fun. This is a cap, not a ballroom.
You said that already.
Just sit down and get your tea.
Charming place this is. Really make you feel at home here, don't they?
Here's your tea. That'll be 2 shillings.
2 shillings?
That's what I said.
Say like flipping robbery.
Now, look, son, I've had enough trouble from you. Just give me the 2 bob.
Give him the money, please, Jim.
Oh, yikes.
There you are. Now get back to your kitchen.
And another thing. I don't want to see you here again. Get it?
Don't have to worry about that, the silly old fool.
I told you we shouldn't dance.
What's wrong with the dance? I ask you, what's wrong with the dance? Come on, Susan, drink up. This place gives me the creeps.
Don't you sit still even for a minute.
Not often. You've got to keep moving, Susan. You've got to keep moving. My jacket smells funny. Rain, I suppose.
You know, you're always on about smell.
Do you know that water always goes down a plug hole in an anti-clockwise direction?
No, I didn't.
Well, it does. This side of the equator anyway.
Oh, proper little man of information, aren't you?
You got a boyfriend?
What's it to you?
I'm just asking.
No, I haven't.
You ever had one?
You're too nosy, you are.
I've never made love to a girl. Never.
Don't know why you think I'm interested.
Most fellas of my age have had lots of girls, but not me. I don't think of girls that way.
How do you think of girls?
No, I don't know. My father's woman mad, though. Especially since my mother died. Brings him home all the time.
If you don't mind, I'd rather not talk about it.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Finish your tea, Susan. Let's get out of here. This place is depressing.
I don't know where you think we're going. It's still pouring.
Well, let's get out anyway.
Look, I haven't an asbestos throat, you know. I can't just gulp it down. Anyway, you haven't drunk yours yet.
I don't want it.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't feel like it somehow. Anyway, there's not enough hygiene in here. Did you see that old bloke's fingernails? Black as the ace of spades they were.
Perhaps that's why they call it the Ace Cafe.
I like that. That's very funny. I like that.
Well, look, I didn't think it was that funny.
Yeah, you're a good sort, Susan. I like you. I don't like many people, but I like you. You know how to enjoy yourself. That's very important. Now, most girls would have thought I was trying to pick him up and waltz away. But not you. No, you talk to me. Yeah, look at it out there. There isn't a soul in sight. Wait a minute. Yes, there is. There's a bloke sitting in the shelter across the road.
I wonder why he doesn't come in here.
He's got more sense, I reckon. Knows when he's well off. Looks like an old man to me. Poor old folks. Don't know what to do with themselves. Just sit in a shelter. Must be rotten when you're old, you know. Nothing to do but sit and look out at the sea.
Oh, it happens to all of us.
Yes, indeed, Grandma. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, Miss Moreau. Oh, Miss Moreau.
Jimmy.
Cracking like walnuts they are. Oh, have to rub some more ointment in. Oh, yes. Rub in lots of ointment and rub it in well. Oh, you know. Oh, yes. Oh, dearie me.
You know, you ought to be on stage, you should.
Oh, what's that, my dear? Speak up, I can't hear very well. Oh, what's that about my age? Oh, we've been together now for 40 years. And it's now see what I do, man.
Quiet, Jimmy. You'll have the man back again.
Who cares about him? Come on, drink up. He won't come out anyway. He's frightened of me. He's frightened of me? Funny thing, that, isn't it? Why should anyone be frightened of me, eh, Susan? Why should anyone be frightened of me?
At least they're off to school. Now I can start washing up.
When does a busy mother like this care for her hands? When she uses Lux dishwashing liquid with Dermasil. Lux liquid keeps her hands soft, young, and lovely, while it gets her dishes sparkling clean.
Money!
Oh, come here. You've got breakfast all over your face. Hold still. There.
A mother's touch on a child's face, soft and gentle, because Lux liquid with Dermasil keeps those busy hands beautiful. That's why more South African mothers use Lux dishwashing liquid.
With the name Lux, what would you expect?
Oh, Tommy, look what a mess you've made.
Sun stains happen now and then. Most just keep on happening. The stains you get simply from living. The understains.
Now, new biological surf has the right biological action even to break the hold of the understains.
Blood stains and baby stains. Stains on handkerchiefs, socks, collars, cuffs, and stains you get simply from living.
New biological surf soaks out all these and other stains. Gives your wash so clean it has to be brighter. It is brighter.
New biological surf is stronger on stains.
New biological surf is brighter on brightness.
That's why I do all my wash with new biological surf.
you are. 4 packets of fags.
Hey, where'd you get them?
I picked them off the shelf by the counter back in the cafe.
Oh, you must be crazy pinching cigarettes like that.
You deserve to have some fags pinched. Yeah, come on, take them. Have a couple of packs.
No, I don't want them. Take them back.
Well, don't be a fool. How can I take them back?
Get rid of them, then. I don't want anything to do with them.
Oh, right, I'll get rid of them.
You know, I wish you'd behave yourself. You're like a madman sometimes.
Sorry, Susan.
You know, you keep saying that.
I only want a bit of fun, that's all.
Jimmy, is there a ladies near you?
A what?
A ladies.
Oh, yeah, just behind the cafe.
Okay, I won't be a minute.
You will come back, won't you?
Of course I will.
I'll go and have a chat with that old bloke in the shelter.
Okay.
Nice day for ducks.
Terrible.
I think it's the bomb, you know. The bomb's what's done it.
Very likely. Shouldn't mess about with things.
Never mind. Still be Christmas, eh?
What's the difference?
Old age pensioner, are you?
What does it look like?
1 foot in the grave, have you? Never mind. Better off in many ways. Is that a real beard you got on?
What?
Is that a real beard you got?
Of course it is. Don't be really silly.
Well, only asking. Might have been fortunate.
What in tarnation would I have a false beard on for?
A lot of people do.
Why, you're talking rubbish.
Do you know how much they charge for a cup of tea in the cafe over there? A bob.
I know.
Daylight robbery, I call it.
I can remember when I could get a cup of tea for a penny.
That was in the good old days, wasn't it, Pop?
Oh, it was.
Life was worth living then, wasn't it, Poppy?
Certainly.
Certainly it was.
With a bob in your pocket, you could have a good time, but not anymore.
No, not anymore. You know, I don't think that's a real beard.
Hey, now, don't start that again.
I think you stuck it on with glue.
Tell me, what's the matter with you?
I think you're a spy. A Russian spy. Yeah, that's what you are.
Oh, go to the devil.
Let me tuck it to see if it's real.
Now, leave me alone.
Just one little
no,
touch.
No.
Well, you're right, Pop. It is a real beard.
Ruddy fool you are. Ruddy great fool. Leave me alone.
You ought to be glad I'd talk to you. But not many people talk to you these days.
Oh, I prefer my own company.
I can't think why. After all, you're a silly old clown. And you smell.
Hey, I'll get the police.
Go on, then fetch the police. Fetch them and you know what'll happen, don't you? Of course you do. You'll get run in. You're a vagrant, that's what you are.
Oh, I got my rights.
You've got no rights, matey. All you've got is memories. Reckon one day they'll fish you out of the sea, won't they, eh? They fished a bloke out of the sea last year. Bloke like you.
Oh, please go away.
Don't worry, old mate, I'm going. You shouldn't have got on your high horse, you see. Only wanted to be friendly. Just wanted to be friendly, that's all. Have a bit of fun. Come on, Pop. Shake. That's better. Now we're friends again. You smoke?
Hey?
Here's some cigarettes.
Cigarettes?
Just a present.
For me?
Yeah. I like you. Pretend it's your birthday. Oh, ta-da now, Pop. I gotta go. Ta-da.
Over there.
Giving the cigarettes away like you told me.
Oh, good. No, I think you should have taken them back to the shop. Look, Jimmy, I think I'd better be going home.
No, don't go home. Just getting to know you.
But we can always meet again.
Oh, but we won't.
Why not?
I just know we won't.
Oh, I don't see why not.
Susan, come with me to the Luxor cinema.
What's the point of going to an old empty cinema?
It's great fun in there, honestly. Just for a little while.
Well, I ought to go home.
Just for a little while.
Seems silly to me.
Nobody else knows how to get in except me.
Why? How do you get in?
Oh, we're getting through a door at the back. It's not locked properly, but nobody knows it except me.
Well, all right, then. Oh, just for a little while.
That's my girl. Come on. Here we are. Seats in all parts.
Gee, sort of ghostly.
This is my favourite place, you know. I often come here. It's quiet.
I used to come here to see the film. Seems funny somehow.
Well, come on in. Have a proper look.
You know, it seems sad. What's going to happen to it?
Nothing, I hope.
I expect they'll turn it into a supermarket.
Oh, I hope not. Let's go up on the stage.
Big, isn't it?
Yeah, just think. There used to be a screen here, and famous stars appeared on it, right where we're standing now. William Olsen, Gregory Peck.
Oh, I remember seeing Gregory Peck here in a picture about an airman.
Are you glad we came?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I am.
Good, I'm glad. It's fun, isn't it?
No, more sad than fun.
But exciting. It's exciting, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's exciting.
Are you excited, Susan? Really excited?
Well, how do you mean?
Well, do you tingle? Tingle all over?
Oh, can't say I do.
Oh, I do, Susan, I do.
Every time I come in here, I start to tingle. Funny, isn't it?
Well, I suppose so.
I want to laugh and shout and sing. You know what I mean? I want to break things.
Not much left to break.
Oh, it's a wonderful place. Wonderful. There's nowhere else like this in the old dreary town.
If you like it so much, Jimmy, why do you want to break things?
Oh, you don't understand, do you, Susan? You don't understand. Well, where are you going, Susan? Don't go anywhere without me. I'll tell you where to go.
Who do you think you are?
I'll tell you where to go. It's my place.
Well, if you feel like that, I'll go home.
No, don't go. I want to show you
Look,
things.
let go of my wrist.
Look, Susan, look. Look, a piano. You listen. Just you listen to this.
Oh, I didn't know you could play the piano.
Why should you know? I play the mouth organ, too. I can do lots of things. Nobody ever is.
Jimmy, please.
Nobody is. Nobody cares. This is my place. This is where I have all my fun, all my wonderful time. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, we proudly present the greatest entertainer in the history of show business. Your friend and mine, the one and only Jimmy Webster. Yeah! Come on, Jimmy. Good old Jimmy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not too loud with your applause, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very old building. And my wife, ladies and gentlemen, my wife. She's a lovely redhead. No hair, I'm afraid, but a lovely redhead. Thank you, thank you. Just throw silver. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a little dance that was taught to me by Pavlova, Fred Pavlova. Music, maestro. Thank you. Dum-ba-dum-dum-dum.
Oh, Jimmy. Let me see the rest of the place.
What?
Come on, show me round.
Oh, there's plenty of time.
No, there isn't. I've got to go.
Go? Go where?
Some of us have got homes, you know.
Oh, but it's raining outside.
Well, I can't get much wetter than I am.
I thought you liked it here.
Well, I do.
Well, then?
Well, show me around.
Let's sit down for a minute. Here in the front row, eh?
Oh, seats are filthy.
They're not too bad. Just for a moment.
Well, what do you want to sit down for?
I want to get my breath back after all that jumping about.
You know, I think you're crazy.
Do you? Do you think I'm really crazy?
Well, I think you're a bit crazy.
What's your mother like? Is she nice?
She's all right.
Is your father nice?
Oh, he's all right, too.
I used to come to the pictures 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes more. I like the pictures. I like the dark and the quiet. You sure you died?
What?
Do you dye your hair? Are you really blonde?
Yeah, of course I am.
I knew a girl who dyed her hair green. Would you dye your hair green?
No, I wouldn't.
I'll bet we both get cold getting wet like this.
I shouldn't be surprised.
Still, it's better in here than outside, isn't it?
Have you ever brought anyone else in here?
Yeah.
Who?
A girl.
What was her name?
Sylvia.
Did she like it?
A little bit. Then she got frightened.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, are you going to show me around or not?
Yeah, all right. Come on.
What's behind that door?
I don't know.
Well, let's look.
It's locked.
How'd you know?
I've tried it, of course.
Look, aren't you interested in finding out what's in there?
No.
Well, what did the room used to be?
An office.
No, I think you know what's in there.
Do you?
I think there's something in there you don't want me to see.
You're very clever, Susan.
Well, why can't I see what's in there?
Because I don't want you to.
Why not?
I've got my reasons.
Oh, now I really want to see what's in there.
Let me show you something else.
But I want to see in that room.
Later. I'll show you later.
Promise?
Yeah, I promise.
All right. What's the other thing you want to show me?
This way, through the swing door.
Dark in here.
It is. You're not frightened, are you?
No, I'm not frightened.
You're lying. You are frightened. They all get frightened.
Well, who?
People. All people. Sylvia was frightened. She started to cry.
Look, I'm going.
No, you're not. I haven't finished yet.
Finished what?
Finished with you.
Oh, you're hurting my business.
Look at the floor there. What do you see?
Oh, it looks like a mattress.
It is a mattress. A nice, soft mattress.
Let go of my wrist.
Come on the mattress with me, Susan.
No, I won't.
You hate me, don't you? You hate me.
I want to go home.
You're frightened. Girls always get frightened. Sylvia wouldn't come on the mattress with me either. Sylvia started to cry.
Look, Please let me go.
Nice, Susan. Nice, Susan, smelling the rain.
Leave me alone.
Kiss me, Susan. Kiss me. Oh, don't hit me, Susan. I don't like being hit.
I hate you.
I want to be friends. That's all I ask.
Please.
You're frightened, Susan, aren't you? Admit it, you are frightened, aren't you?
Yes, I'm frightened.
Where did you go, then? You know where the door is.
It's locked.
Yes, I know it's locked. I locked it when we came in. So you wouldn't get away, that's why.
Jimmy, please let me go.
I'm afraid I can't.
Jimmy, please.
Come with me, Susan. I want to tell you something. Come on. We'll sit in the back row. Sit down.
Oh, I don't understand.
Just sit down, that's all.
What are you going to do?
It's very pleasant, isn't it? Just you and me and the entire cinema sitting in the back row. How very romantic. Sylvia sat here with me, too. We sat here and we held hands. She was crying all the time. I brought Sylvia in here so that I could get her to come on the mattress with me, but she wouldn't. She just kept crying and struggling all the time. Silly girl. Silly girl. So I killed her. Yeah. I killed her, Susan. Stuck a knife in her neck. This knife. Such a little knife, eh? Such a little knife to kill somebody. Don't move, Susan. Please don't move. Yeah, I put this knife on her neck and I just kept pushing it in until she didn't struggle anymore. And then I carried her body and put it in the office over there. Covered her body up with some old sacks. Then I locked the door. And that's why I didn't let you look in there, Susan. Now you understand why. Nobody ever comes here. Nobody. Nobody will ever know about Sylvia. Nobody will ever know about you either. I've got to kill you too, Susan. I've got to.
Why? You've got to kill me. Why?
I told you about Sylvia's body, didn't I? I'll let you go and you'll tell the police.
I wouldn't, I promise. I wouldn't tell anyone.
Don't tell lies, Susan. No point in telling lies.
You have to bring me here. You didn't have to tell me about Sylvia.
Yeah, that's true. But I did, didn't I? Yeah. Getting very dark in here. Still, I like the dark. I like it, Susan. I'm going to wait for the dark.
What do you mean?
You'll see. Just have patience. My father always says that. Every time I ask him something, he says, wait and see. Oh, I don't like my father very much. Better than my mother, of course, but still I don't like him. Mind you, he doesn't like me very much either. Come to no good, he says. He'll come to no good, my lamb. Maybe I won't. But it's his fault. It's his fault, isn't it, Susan? He should have been a better father to me. He should have been better to me. He should have answered my questions, Susan. I kept asking him questions. He wouldn't answer me. Just kept saying, wait and see. You know, all he thinks about is women. Nothing but women. He hasn't got time for anything else. He shouldn't have been like that, should he? He's not right for a father, now is it? And he gets terrible moods, you know, Susan. Always after he's brought a woman home, he gets these terrible moods and shouts at me. And then he looks at my mother's photograph and goes all sad, and he says, your mother was the finest person who ever lived, don't you forget it. I don't know why he said that. Mother was terrible.
Jimmy, please let me go. I'm so frightened.
Of course you are, Susan. Of course you are. We're all frightened. Everybody's frightened. Everybody in the whole world is frightened. Just being alive is enough to make you frightened. Being alive is a funny thing. We don't know what it's about, you see. It's all a mystery. All we do know is that it's going to end one day, and we're all frightened. Don't shiver, Susan. I don't like people who shiver.
I can't help it.
I don't like people who shiver.
I want to go home.
But I haven't finished yet. I haven't finished yet, have I?
Finished what?
Finished with you.
Oh, please leave me alone.
Letting you suffer for a while, Susan. Just for a little while. Suffer like I've had to suffer all my life.
I ought to kill you now. I ought to kill you now.
Go on then, kill me.
Not yet.
Kill me.
Not yet. Get on your feet. Come on, stand up. Try that again, Susan. Try that again. You're very silly of you. I'm stronger than you are, you see. Much stronger. And now I'm going to show you something. Something special. Come on.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to show you something, like I promised.
Not in there.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to show you in there. I'm going to show you Sylvia's body. I'm going to take you in there and show you a nice dead body.
Hey, everything's suddenly starting to swing.
It's this new Sunsilk hairspray, all clean and natural.
But the whole world looks different.
It's this new Sunsilk hairspray with texture and a conditioner. Lets a girl be softly lovable and groomed like a lady. All in one.
Well, I'll put my last scent on it. I smell spring.
Just this new Sunsilk hairspray that doesn't fight with my perfume. And it brushes right out when everything's over, leaving nothing sticky icky behind.
Baby, things sure have changed.
Since new Sunsilk hairspray with Textralan, it holds the swinging set.
I like it.
Oh, Tommy, look what a mess you've made.
Sun stains happen now and then. Most just keep on happening. The stains you get simply from living. The understains.
Now, new biological surf has the right biological action even to break the hold of the understains.
Blood stains and baby stains. Stains on handkerchiefs, socks, collars, cuffs, and stains you get simply from living.
New biological surf soaks out all these and other stains. Gives your wash so clean it has to be brighter. It is brighter.
New biological surf is stronger on stains.
New biological surf is brighter on brightness.
That's why I do all my wash with new biological surf.
Mustn't scream like that anymore, Susan. I don't know. Sylvia screamed too, and she got me mad. Poor, cold, dead little Sylvia. I'm going to show her to you. Sylvia must be lonely, very lonely. Oh, so lonely all in around here. I'd be glad of company. Dead people don't get company, you know. Of course, on the other hand, she mightn't be pleased to see you. I suppose she's looking very pretty just now. And women like to look pretty, don't they, Susan? They like to be admired, don't they? I don't suppose you'll admire Sylvia when you see her. Oh, but you mustn't let it show. You mustn't upset her because Sylvia was very fussy about her appearance. That's why she liked me so much. Because I was always telling her how pretty she was. You're so pretty, Sylvia, I would say. Such pretty hair. And then she'd laugh, and she'd be glad. And then I brought her here, and I took her up on the stage, and we danced. Yeah, we danced, Susan. Not a very good dance, I'm afraid. Kept knocking things over and laughing. But she was having a good time. Thought I was wonderful. Then I asked her to come on the mattress with me. And she thought I was joking. When she realized I wasn't joking, she started to cry. Cry and scream. Such loud screams, Susan, so loud, right through my head. I told her to shut up. Shut up, I told her. Shut up, shut up, shut up. She kept on screaming. So I put my knife in her neck. And then she stopped. Made a funny little noise and slid down the wall. Suddenly she wasn't pretty anymore.
Stop it, I don't want to hear.
But you're very lucky, Susan. Do you understand that? After all, you're going to see something that no one else has seen except me. I don't show it to everyone, you know. Only you, Susan, only you.
Please, you say. Anything you say.
Will you come on the mattress with me?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'll do anything.
Really, Susan?
Yes.
You promise?
Promise.
You slut. That's all you are, Susan. A little slut. A slut like all women are. I don't want you. I'm not interested in you. You make me sick. I'm too good for you, Susan. I'm too good for you. I wouldn't spoil myself with you.
Oh, I can't stand anymore.
Just a filthy little slut. Oh, how I hate you. How I hate you. Cringing on your knees. The moment I saw you in that shelter, I knew what you were. I knew straight away. Sitting there in your leather raincoat and your blonde hair all done up. You're just like all the others. All the others. You're all the same.
Oh, please, I beg you.
Yeah, that's right. Beg like all the others. Beg like my mother used to beg. Beg like the sluts you are.
Oh, Jimmy, please.
You think I want you, don't you? Well, I don't. I can live without women. I can live without sluts. Come on, get up. Get up. Get on your feet. Yeah, look at you. Oh, you look a mess. Just look at you. Look at your hair. Oh, what a mess. All right, Susan. All right. I won't show you the body. We'll let Sylvia rest in peace.
Are you going to let me go?
No. Oh, no, Susan. No, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, no,
I want to show you something first. Look up there, Susan. See that square in the wall? You see it, Susan?
Yes, I see it.
Well, behind there's the projection room. All the pictures were shown through that square. All the laughter, all the tears, all the music and dancing came out of it. The projection room was where it all happened. It was the brain of it all. That's why I like it so much. Do you know why I like it? Because it was the center of all the power. And I like to be in the center of power. I am talking a lot, am I? Still, it's a good job I am, because you're not saying much, are you? Say something. Say a word. Come on, just a word. Say hello. Say hello, Susan.
Hello.
That's better. That's more sociable, isn't it, eh? Say something else.
Jimmy, have pity.
Oh, that's very good. 3 words. You're coming along wonderfully.
Please have pity on me.
5 words. Oh, marvelous.
Jimmy, let me go. Let me go, Jimmy, please.
Well, there's no stopping you now, is there, eh? And there's no getting away from me either.
Oh.
People only get away in films, you know. And this ain't a film. Suppose this were a film, Susan, and I was a villain, eh? And suppose I had you trapped here. What'd happen? I'll tell you what would happen. The hero would come running in and leap at me with fight, crashing into things, grunting and groaning, and we'd fall on the floor wrestling for the knife. And then suddenly I'd give a big scream and lie still, you see, because the knife had gone in me. Big clinch, big close-up, end of film. But there isn't any hero, is it, Susan? Oh. Eh? Hello? Hello, are you there? Hello? Hero, are you there? No answer. No answer, Susan. There isn't any answer. There isn't any hero.
Jimmy,
But wait. Perhaps all is not lost.
Jimmy, I don't want to die.
Perhaps someone has heard it, eh? Perhaps someone has dialed 999. And at this moment, right at this moment, the police are surrounding the building, armed with guns, you see? Armed with guns, Susan, because I'm the most dangerous criminal alive. Come on, coppers. Come and get me. I'm waiting for you. Miss, you missed me, coppers. You'll never take me alive. All right. You got me. All right, coppers. Okay, you win. I'm a goner. But before I die, tell my mother that I loved her. Oh, dear. My poor old
You're insane. Insane.
Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, that's where you're wrong. That's just where you're wrong. It's you that's insane, not me. The whole world is insane, Susan. The whole world. I mean, if you were to stick me on a couch with one of those head shrinkers, he'd find out that I was perfectly sane. Nothing at all wrong with me.
No, nothing wrong except that you like to hurt and kill people for no reason.
But that's not true. I don't like killing people. That's a lie, that is. I do what I've got to do, that's all.
You do it because you're insane. Because you can't think straight.
Lies. Lies, I'm not insane.
You're daft, Jimmy. You're one of the daft ones.
Shut up.
You're so daft you don't even know what you're doing.
I'm warning you, Susan.
You're like a little boy. All you can do is earth things.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Just like a little boy. And you're frightened, aren't you? You because you're frightened.
I got a knife. I got a knife.
Oh, little boy with a knife.
Shut up.
Little boy with a knife.
I'll kill you.
No, you won't, Jimmy. Little boy with a knife.
I'll kill Sylvia.
Oh, but you won't kill me.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong, Susan.
You talk too much. You talked it all away.
You're wrong.
Little boy with a knife.
I killed a cat.
What?
I killed a cat.
Cat?
A black cat. I killed it. Look, I'll show you. Here, in this cardboard box. Look inside the box, Susan. What's inside? Tell me what's inside.
Cat.
That's right, the cat. I killed it with a knife. Look at it, go on.
I don't want to see.
It was up here in the projection room, prowling about. Looking for food, I suppose. I called it out. Puss. Puss, I said it. It came to me and I killed it. Oh, silly old cat. Should have stayed outside, shouldn't it? Should have stayed outside like Sylvia should have stayed outside. Like you should have stayed outside.
Take it away.
And through the hole in the roof, I suppose. Perhaps it was raining. Perhaps it came in out of the rain. Came in out of the rain, Susan. Out of the rain, like you.
Oh, take it away. It's horrible.
Perhaps it couldn't find its way out again. Perhaps it had been here for days. It's probably starving. I probably did it a kindness by killing it. There's no food here, is there? Except mice, perhaps. I haven't seen any mice, though, or heard any. Perhaps I'll kill a mouse one day. I bet the cat has killed mice. I bet it's killed a lot of mice. I mean, they're enemies, aren't they? It's the same with dogs. Dogs kill cats. Everything kills everything else, you see. It's the way things are.
Jimmy, my head's hurting.
I'll put the cat away, shall I? Put the cat out for the night, Come on, pussy. Time to go back, eh? You've had your fun and games. Well, you're not a very attractive cat these days, are you? No. I don't think I'll bring you out anymore. Come on, black cat. Back in your corner. No! Susan! Silly little stupid Susan! We're trying to run away, eh? But there's no escape, Susan. Don't you understand that? This isn't a film, it's real. It's real, Susan, and you're gonna die. Why did you believe it? Why did you believe that you're gonna die? There's no point in suffering. There's no point at all. No point in anything anymore. This is it, Susan. This is the end. No more struggling. No more crying or screaming or begging. Nothing anymore.
Oh, you're horrible, you animal.
Sticks and stones that break my bones. The words will never hurt me.
Oh, Jimmy. Please don't kill me.
Too late, Susan. I don't need you anymore. No, I don't need you. Go home, Susan. The game's over.
Oh, what?
Go on, Susan. Go home.
Go home?
Yes, go home.
The door's locked.
So it is. Well, I'll have to unlock it, won't I? That's all it was. A little bit of wood. Still raining. Such a lot of rain. I'm not going to touch you. You can go now. Go on, run. Run. The great cinema is hushed as Jimmy Webster sits at the piano waiting for the magic of his music.
game?
I don't understand, officer.
This girl here says you attacked her in here, kept her here against her will. Says you were going to kill her. Just a bloke, miss?
Yes, that's him.
The constable, she must be mistaken.
Is she now? She says there's a body here, too. The body of a girl.
Oh, really? I don't think she knows what she's saying.
Don't I, Jimmy? Don't I know what I'm saying? Boot's on the other foot now, isn't it? Now you can know what it's like to be frightened. Now you can suffer. The body's in that office through there, but the door's locked.
Come on, you. Unlock the door.
Well, there's no need to unlock it. It's never been locked as far as I know.
Ah. Well, we'll have a look, shall we? Nothing in here. Completely empty.
But
Now, look, you two. I don't know what your ruddy game is.
You lied. There was no such girl as Sylvia.
Sylvia?
It was all a lie.
Now, look, I don't know what you're talking about.
And I don't know what you're talking about either. Anyway, what you doing here? You know this is private property?
Well, I'm sorry. I often come in here. I didn't know.
Well, you know now. And don't let me catch you here again, or I'll really give you some trouble. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right. Now then, come along then. Let's have you both out of here. I've got more important things to do with my time than worry about what you two have been playing at. I'll get someone to fix that door properly. Now, don't forget you. Don't come round here again. Which way do you live, miss?
That way.
All right, then. Come along. I'll see you home safely.
It was all a game, Jimmy, wasn't it? All a game. Why?
Come on, miss. It's too wet to hang about.
Why, Jimmy? Why?
You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't. Go home, will you?
Come along, miss.
What have I come back here for? Back to the beach. Perhaps I ought to go home. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll go home and I'll start that book of mine. What was I going to call it now? Statues in the Rain. Yeah, that was it. That's what I'll do, start my book. I'll go... Wonder if the old bloke's still in the shelter. Someone is anyway. Hello. You got called out too, did you? You mind if I share this shelter with you? Any port in a storm, as they say. My name's Jimmy. Jimmy Webster. What's yours?
It's Dorothy.
Dorothy, eh? Oh, that's a nice name. And you got nice hair. Yeah, lovely hair.
Discover Lux, and discover why more beautiful women the world over choose Lux than any other beauty soap. Discover the new, milder, creamier lather of Lux, a lather enriched with exotic natural oils to keep your skin soft and beautiful. Discover the precious new perfume in Lux, a fragrance that seeps gently into your skin, leaving you provocatively fragrant. Lux perfumed. Then join the world's most beautiful women who entrust their skin's loveliness to Lux every day. The first touch of the mild, silken lather will make Lux yours forever.
Darling, here's something new. Erasmic Mastershave Aerosol. Why don't you try some?
No, thanks, love. My old way suits me just fine. These aerosols are an extravagance.
But look at this. Erasmic Mastershave softens your beard instantly. Gives a fast, smooth shave.
I know, but...
And look, one can of Erasmic Aerosol lasts 3 full months. So it costs no more than shaving your old way. Give me one reason why you won't try new Erasmic Mastershave.
Well,
Erasmic Mastershave. When are you going to switch?
In tonight's presentation of Out of the Rain by Jerry Jones, you heard Heather Simpson as Susan and Roger Service as Jimmy. Others in the cast were Jack Fowler and Reg Richards. Out of the Rain was adapted and produced for Lux Radio Theatre by Tom Meehan and directed by Brian Squires. And now until next Monday night at 8:30, this is your Lux Radio Theatre host, Peter Tobin, bidding you all good night.
In today's edition of Radio Theatre, we present The Seventh Veil, written by Muriel and Sidney Box. It was adapted for radio by Helen Cunningham, produced by Anne Freed, and directed by Delphine Lethbridge. It was originally broadcast on Springbok Radio on the 26th of July, 1971.
Sorry it's so late, Dr. Kendall. He can't be long now.
I wouldn't be so sure. I know these foreigners. No sense of time at all. He is Dr. Larson, I suppose?
Oh, yes.
I merely ask. One can never be sure with these specialists in the unconventional. You're quite determined to go on with this, I take it?
After what happened on Sunday, we must. Well, you've seen for yourself. She's getting worse instead of better.
Well, you know my views. Ah, at last.
Dr. Larson, sir.
How do you do, Doctor? My name is Max Layton, and this is Dr. Kendall.
How do you do? I'm afraid I'm 11 minutes late. I hope you both forgive me, especially you, Doctor.
As a matter of fact, I do have another appointment quite soon.
Then let us waste no more time. I have studied the general medical details you sent me, Dr. Kendall. Everything is quite clear except the new circumstances you mentioned in your letter. Something which happened on Sunday night, was it not?
That's right.
Before you tell me about it, Doctor, I wonder if you would sketch in the background for me. Is this Miss Cunningham's house?
No. It belongs to her guardian, Nicholas Cunningham. But she's lived here since she was 16.
And now she's 26.
Of course, she's been abroad a great deal of that time, but this has always been her home.
One other thing. What exactly is your connection with the case?
Oh, I am her fiancé. We were about to get married when the first upsetting incident occurred. The car crash.
It was Mr. Layton who insisted on your being called in.
I see. Thank you, Doctor. Shall we proceed to the happenings of Sunday?
By all means. To put it bluntly, Miss Cunningham attempted to do away with herself. She had been in bed ever since the car accident. On Sunday evening, when the nurse was out of the room for a moment, she got up, left the house, and ran into Hyde Park. A motorist saw her throw herself off the bridge into the Serpentine and gave the alarm. She was rescued and brought back here. Physically, not much the worse for wear, but...
She has never attempted suicide before?
No, never.
I see. What is her occupation?
Well, she's a well-known concert pianist.
Your notes on the case, Doctor, say she doesn't speak at all.
That is so.
I should like to examine her under hypnosis, or rather, as she is not cooperative, under narcosis.
Do you really think that will help?
It may do. At least it would tell us the nature of the injury to her mind.
I know you fellows get some remarkable results, but I can't say I altogether like it. It saves a little of prying, if you see what I mean.
Dr. Kendall, a surgeon does not operate without first taking off the patient's clothes, nor do we with the mind. You know what Stapel says. The human mind is like Salome at the beginning of her dance, hidden from the outside world by 7 veils, veils of reserve, shyness, fear. Now, with friends, the average person will drop first 1 veil, then another, maybe 3 or 4 altogether. With a lover, she will take off 5 or even 6, but never the 7th, never. You see, the human mind likes to cover its nakedness too and keep its private thoughts to itself. Salome dropped her 7th veil of her own free will, but you will never get the human mind to do the same. That is why I use narcosis. 5 minutes under narcosis, and down comes the 7th veil, and we can see what is actually going on behind it. Then we can really help.
Very well. When would you like to start?
At once.
You mean now?
Why not?
But I told you I have another appointment.
I quite understand, Doctor. There is no need to delay you. If you will be good enough to instruct the nurse to place the patient in my care for, say, 2 hours, that is all that will be necessary.
Very well. I will go and explain to her.
Dr. Larson, there's something I think you ought to know before you examine Miss Cunningham.
What is that?
Her guardian, Nicholas Cunningham.
Oh, yes. Is he here now?
No, he's away. He returns this afternoon.
Excellent. If I need his help, I can speak to him then.
But there's something you ought to know about him. Something that affects Miss Cunningham. His influence
Mr.
on
Layton, I can learn all about that from Miss Cunningham. If Mr. Cunningham is in her thoughts, she will tell me about him. If he is not, then it is best that we do not confuse the issue with, shall we say, gossip. Don't you agree?
Just as you please.
I think the best thing you can do is to go for a nice little stroll in the park. These matters are best managed in private, you understand. Very well.
Doctor.
I know. You love her very much and you want to see her well again, am I right?
Yes.
Then I hope you will enjoy your walk. Now, Miss Cunningham, I know you don't want to talk at the moment. You're very tired and you would like to go to sleep. So, I want you to breathe deeply. That's right. Relax. Relax and close your eyes. Soon you will be asleep. Asleep. That's right. Sleep. Sleep. There. You are asleep. Nothing can hurt you. You understand that, don't you? Nod your head if you understand. That's right. Now, you can do what you like and you can go where you please. What would you like to do? You were happy when you were a little girl, weren't you? Would you like to go back to school and be happy again?
School?
Yes. Would you like that?
School.
You are 16 years of age now. How old are you?
I'm 16.
That's right. You are 16 and you are at school.
School. 16. School? Of course it was all Susan's fault.
Who is Susan?
Susan Brooke. She was my friend. She could make me do anything.
What sort of thing?
Oh, we get into trouble, and then I was the one who got found out and punished. It was really Susan's fault that I got caned.
Caned? Who caned you?
Miss Donkin.
Your schoolmistress? What had you done?
Nothing much. Just...
Tell me about it.
Oh, please, Miss Donkin. I know I must be caned, but not on my hands. Please, not on my hands. But today's the music examination. And if you cane me, if my hands... Oh, please.
Miss Donkin wouldn't listen to you?
No.
And she caned you on your hands. Did it hurt much?
Yes. My hands were swollen and blistered. I played so badly I knew I hadn't a chance. I'd set my heart on that scholarship.
But next time you sat for it, you passed easily.
I never sat for it again.
No? Why was that?
My father died.
I see. Your father's death stopped you from sitting for the music examination. Why was that?
When my father died, they sent me to live with my Uncle Nicholas in London. My mother died when I was a baby, you see. Uncle Nicholas wasn't really my uncle, but he was the only relative I had in the world. He was rich.
Miss Cunningham has arrived, sir.
Ah, come in. Let's have a look at you. Francesca, isn't it?
Yes, Uncle Nicholas.
Don't call me uncle. I'm not your uncle. If you must call me anything, call me Nicholas.
Yes, Nicholas.
Take your hat off. And your coat. It's all right, I'm not going to eat you. Now listen to me, listen carefully. This is a bachelor establishment. You know what that means?
Yes, it means you're not married.
It means I don't like women about the place. When I came to live in this house, I promised myself that no woman would ever enter it. So far, none has. You're the first.
I see.
What do you see?
But I'm to do my best not to intrude on your privacy more than I can possibly help.
Is there anything you want to ask me?
No, Nicholas.
You're sure?
Yes? Well, that is...
Well?
If you're not my uncle, who are you?
I'm your father's second cousin. Anything else?
No.
I have a letter here from your school, from Miss Donkin. And she says, Francesca's intelligence is rather above average. She's extremely well behaved and has a charming, friendly disposition once she's overcome the initial shyness, which sometimes prevents her making friends easily. Are you shy?
Yes.
Of me?
A little.
There's no need to be. Miss Donkin also says, Francesca has an extraordinary talent for music. She plays the piano extremely well and has an appreciation of music far in advance of her years. You must play something for me sometime. All right.
Did I do something wrong?
No, I want to talk to you. 3 months of listening to you has convinced me that your Miss Donkin was correct in her judgment. You have an extraordinary talent for music. And you've learnt a lot.
Oh, it's easy to learn from you, Nicholas. You're such a wonderful teacher.
Oh, I've no illusions about my musical ability. Those who can do, those who can't teach. I've taught you all I know, but now it's time you had some proper training. I've arranged for you to start at the Royal College of Music on Monday.
Nicholas, I don't know what to say.
Remember, your hands are your most precious possession. Damage them, and all hopes of a musical career are finished.
Oh, I will remember.
Good. I'm going to Paris tomorrow.
How long will you be away?
Several months. I've opened an account for you at Harrods. You'll go there this afternoon and get what you need. Ask for Mrs. Harrison. She's what they call a buyer in the gown department. She'll advise you on what to buy, but don't let her foist anything on you. Use your own taste and choose whatever you think's best for you. You understand?
Oh, yes, Nicholas.
Now, here's a note for her.
Oh, Nicholas. Thank you so much.
Don't do that. Don't ever do that again.
Mr. Peter Gay to see you, Miss Francesca.
Hi.
Peter, you shouldn't have come.
I say, what sort of a welcome is that? Aren't you glad to see me?
Well, yes, but not here. Why did you come?
Well, I ran into one of the girls at your harmony class. Mavis, I think her name is. Well, she said you weren't coming to the dance tonight.
No, I'm not.
Now, that is where you are wrong. I'm taking you.
Yes, but I can't dance.
That's what Mavis said. Well, that's why I brought these records. Do you have a record player?
Yes, over there.
Oh, good. I'll just move this here.
But why are you rolling up that rug?
Oh, you'll see, you'll see.
Peter, what are you going to do?
Teach you to dance. It's a waltz.
But I can't.
Of course you can. You can count up to 3, can't you? That's all you have to do.
Oh, dear.
Come on.
Now,
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There you are. Well, it's as easy as ABC, isn't it?
No.
You're doing all right, Fran. Just relax. Relax. Nobody's going to eat you.
That's what Nicholas always says.
Who is this Nicholas, huh?
My guardian.
Well, that's a blessing anyhow.
Why?
Just thought he might be competition, that's all.
I don't understand.
Don't you, Fran?
No.
You know, you're a bit of a prig, but, well, that's the way you were brought up.
And you're extremely rude, but I suppose that's the way you've been brought up.
Jack, I was dragged up, I know it.
You must go now.
But why? Oh, this guardian of yours around, huh?
Oh, no, he's away. He's nearly always away.
Then what's the hurry? Why do you always run away when you're having fun, Fran?
Well, I don't. It's just that I have more important things to do.
Ah, that's the trouble with you. How often do you take an evening off and go to the movies?
Never.
But you should. Well, they take you out of yourself.
Is that such a good thing?
Of course it is. Look, suppose this is a movie. Poor, struggling musician, that's me, meets snooty rich girl, that's you. And you know what happens?
What?
Well, she's cold and stuck up and kind of unattainable, but underneath it all, she's falling for him in spite of herself. See?
No.
Well, that's because you don't go to the movies. You know what happens next?
No.
Well, he just leans forward and kisses her.
Oh.
And you know what she does?
No.
Of course, she slaps his face and walks right out of the place.
And then what happens?
Oh, they're both awfully unhappy, and soon they take to haunting the spot where they first met. Then one day they hear the tune the orchestra played that first day. In a flash, they're in one another's arms, and he's kissing her. Like this, Fran.
Come in and pour yourself a drink, Peter.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, I've had such a lovely day. Do you know I've never been on the river before?
You don't say?
Sure, Peter. I never did anything lovely until I met you.
Oh, Fran.
Let me go, Peter.
What's the matter?
Someone's just come in.
Well, I didn't hear
It
anything.
was the front door.
Good evening, Francesca.
Oh.
You look surprised to see me. Weren't you expecting me?
No,
But I let Parker know I was returning tonight.
he didn't tell me.
So I gather. Aren't you going to introduce us?
Oh, this is Peter Gay, a friend of mine. Nicholas Cunningham, my guardian.
Glad to know you, Mr. Cunningham.
How do you do?
Peter was just going.
Really?
Yes, sir. I've got to be getting along.
Don't let me disturb you, please.
No, you have to go, haven't you, Peter?
That's right, yes.
Then don't let me detain you. Parker will see you out.
Well, good night, Mr. Cunningham.
Good night.
Good night, Francesca.
Good night, Peter. Did you have a good holiday in Germany, Nicholas?
Yes, thank you.
Parker should have told me that you were coming back. I'd have gone to the station to meet you.
I didn't come by train. Sims drove me.
Oh.
You look rather pale. Have you been working too hard?
No, I don't think so.
You're not ill, I hope.
No, I'm quite well, thank you. Nicholas, I must talk to you.
Won't you keep till morning?
No, it's important.
Well, what is it?
I don't know how to start.
Why not start at the beginning? That's the usual way, isn't it?
Well, there's nothing usual about this, so I'll start at the end. Nicholas, I'm engaged.
Oh. Well, good night.
Nicholas, did you hear what I said?
Perfectly.
But you don't understand. I found a man I love, and I want to marry him. He's asked me to, and I've said yes.
Go to bed.
But Nicholas...
Go to bed, and before you go to sleep, pack a bag. We're leaving for Vienna in the morning.
Vienna? I mean, you're taking me to Vienna?
Yes.
But I can't go. I won't go. I want to stay here with Peter. What could I do in Vienna?
You'll carry on your studies.
Well, I won't. I won't go, I tell you. And you can't make me. I don't care whether I ever play again. If you take me away from Peter, I won't play. Do you hear? I won't ever play again, and I mean it. Why do you always treat me like a child?
Because you are one.
I'm not. I'm grown up. I'm a woman, and I have a right to live my own life. I know what I want, and you're trying to take it away from me. The only thing I've ever really cared for.
How old are you?
I won't go, I tell you. I won't.
Stop that. I said, how old are you?
17.
Exactly. Until you're 21, you're in my care. I'm your guardian. Your legal guardian. Do you understand what that means?
No.
It means you can't marry without my consent. You can't even leave this house unless I give you permission. If you do, I can have you brought back. By police, if necessary. It's my duty to see that you behave properly and don't make a fool of yourself. Is that clear?
Yes.
Then go to bed. Go to bed.
Oh, Nicholas. How can you be so cruel?
You rang, sir?
Miss Francesca's just gone up to her room. I want you to go up and lock her door on the outside and bring the key down to me.
You mean lock her in, sir?
Naturally.
But
I think my instructions are perfectly clear.
Yes, sir.
Then please carry them out at once.
Our little protege, she is ready, yes?
She will be in a moment, Borelli. She's still in the dressing room.
She's not nervous, the little one?
No? Why should she be?
Why should she not be? It is a debut, is it not? It is right that one should be nervous at one's debut.
Oh, don't worry. Miss Cunningham hasn't got a nerve in her body.
It is a pity. A musician without nerves is a musician without temperament. And it is temperament that makes a good artist into a great artist. In 8 minutes, she will be ready, yes?
Quite ready.
I go and change my shirt. Always when I conduct Beethoven, I must change my shirt. It is very expensive, but what would you do, eh? In 5 minutes, I will return.
Francesca, are you ready?
Yes, Nicholas, I'm just coming. Here I am.
Everything all right?
Yes, Nicholas.
The hall is packed. Borelli's just been in. You've got 5 minutes.
I'm all ready.
Now, don't forget. Wait for Borelli to lead you onto the platform.
Yes.
Take your time and don't give them the signal to start until you are quite ready.
No.
I'm just going to make sure they've got the new piano stool I asked for. I'll be back in a minute.
Who is it?
Francesca!
Why, Susan! It is Susan Brooke, isn't it?
Oh, my dear, how clever of you to remember after all these years. Only it isn't Brooke now, it's Krabotovich. Oh, horrid, isn't it?
Susan, how lovely to see you.
Darling, you haven't changed a bit. And now you're a famous pianist.
Oh, not yet.
Oh, yes, you are, I know. I can tell that from the trouble I had getting in to see you. It cost my husband literally thousands of lira to bribe the doorman.
How did you know I was here in Venice?
Well, I saw your name on the bills this afternoon, and I said to my husband, I was at school with that girl. And then I told him that screamingly funny story of how you failed in your music exam, remember? When we rigged up that booby trap for old Mother Donkin, and she insisted on caning us on the very day of the exam. Oh, what an old beast she was. Still, you've got the laugh of her now, haven't you? I mean, if you told anybody today that you'd failed your first music exam because some silly old schoolmarm had a grudge against you, they simply wouldn't believe you, would they?
It's all fixed now. What's the matter, Francesca? Is something wrong?
It's nothing, Nicholas, thank you.
Something's happened. You're upset.
Oh, did I say something I shouldn't? Oh, well, I won't interrupt you any longer. I'll go in front and listen. You must come and have tea with me one day. Oh, goodbye, darling, and astonishing luck.
Who is that woman?
A girl I went to school with.
Are you sure you're all right, Francesca?
I think so. I don't know.
There's nothing to be nervous about.
Nicholas, I can't go on. I can't.
Nonsense. Of course you'll go on. You'll go right out onto that stage and play as well as you've ever played. Better.
I can't. I can't do it.
Francesca, listen to me. Stop shivering. Stop it. That's better. Now, take a deep breath. A deep one. Now another. And another. That's better. You know something? I'm so certain of your reception that I'm not even going into the hall. I'm going to stay here and read this contract.
You're not going to be there?
No, it isn't necessary. I don't have to go outside this room to know that you're going to be a great success. Now, here's Borelli. Remember, take your time. Another deep breath. Good. Avanti.
Ready, Miss Cunningham?
Yes, quite ready.
Then let us show ourselves to the mob, shall we?
Good luck. Good luck, Francesca. Bring her in here. Bring her in here. That's right. Carry her into the dressing room. Her maid there will attend to her. What happened, Borelli?
That I cannot tell. In the first movement, she was maravillosa. In the maestoso, one would think it was a man who played, not a small lady. But in the last movement, I look, and her face, it is as if she was frightened.
Frightened?
See, the expression is the expression of terror.
But she was playing perfectly well. I heard from in here.
Oh, truly, her playing was as if from another world. But she was not at ease in her mind. Then she finished. The applause is phenomenal. Then, poof, she slides from the stool and falls to the floor. It was terrible.
She fainted?
See, but first, as I pick her up, she says something about her cane and her fingers swelling as she played. It does not make sense, does it?
A cane. A cane and her fingers.
Good evening, Miss Francesca.
Oh, good evening, Parker.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Parker. I see you provided the fatted calf.
Well, I took the liberty of putting out champagne, sir. It seemed suitable for a homecoming.
I'm glad to see your sense of the fitness of things hasn't deserted you during the last few years.
Well, it's been a long time, sir, and if I may say so, I'm glad to see you and Miss Francesca home again.
Oh, and it's so good to be back, Parker. Australia, South Africa, New York, South America. It's been wonderful. But to come home and find you here and everything just the same, even after 7 years, oh, that's the nicest thing of all.
Why, thank you, Miss Francesca. Will there be anything else, sir?
Not for the moment, Parker, thank you. Oh, yes. I'm expecting a Mr. Layton. When he comes, show him straight in here.
Yes, sir.
Champagne, Francesca?
Thank you.
What shall we drink to? A happy homecoming? Your future career?
I don't mind.
Then, let's drink to your happiness.
Do you really mean that?
Naturally.
Well, thank you. Oh, it's nice to be home, Nicholas. Why did we never come back to England before?
Because you weren't ready.
Was that the only reason?
Of course. What other reason could there be?
Oh, I don't know. I just wondered.
You saw Maitland today at the airport?
Yes.
He wants you to do 12 concerts in the provinces over the next 3 months. What do you say?
Well, why ask me? You usually settle these things without consulting me.
Then I'll let him know you accept. You'll excuse me?
Yes, of course.
I shan't be long. If Leighton comes, entertain him for me, will you?
Who is he?
Surely you've heard of him. Max Leighton, the painter. He's all the rage at the moment.
I'll do my best to live up to him.
Francesca, there's something I'd like to say to you. If I appear not to have consulted you about anything, it's only because I wanted your life to be as smooth and easy as possible. To save you worry. To enable you to concentrate on your music.
Oh, but
let me finish. I've devoted years to converting a very ordinary little girl into a first-class artist. I've given up everything to be with you and to help your career. And yet I make no demands on you at all. No demands of any sort. You understand?
Yes, Nicholas.
Good. Then that's understood. Look after Leighton when he comes, won't you?
Yes, Nicholas. Mr. Peter Gay, please. Oh, it's you, Peter. It's Francesca. Yes, it is, isn't it? Well, I did write to you, but the letters all came back. Yes, I've just got home. When can I see you? Oh, well, couldn't you come round tonight? Oh, yes, of course. Yes, all right, if you really want to. No, I'm listening. Of course I'll pay attention. Peter, what is it? Is something wrong? All right, tell me. Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Of course, I understand. Yes. Oh, Peter, someone's just come in. I'll have to ring off. No, I must go. Goodbye.
Good evening. I'm sorry if I've interrupted you.
Excuse me.
Well, what could that be all about?
Oh, you've come, Leighton. All alone?
Ah, yes. Are you expecting me to bring someone with me?
No, but I thought Francesca would be here to welcome you. Champagne or brandy?
Brandy, please. As a matter of fact, Miss Cunningham was here for a moment when I arrived.
Oh? What happened to her?
She took one look at me and rushed out of the room.
You're joking, of course. It was kind of you to come at such short notice.
Not at all. I was intrigued at the idea of meeting you again. You've been out of England for some time, haven't you?
7 years.
A lot has happened in that time. To both of us.
Yes, I'm delighted at your success.
Thank you.
I'd like you to paint my ward. And that's the real reason for my asking you to come here this evening.
Oh, well, I'm afraid that's impossible.
Impossible?
I don't paint portraits anymore. It interferes with my serious work.
Really? But you haven't met my ward yet. I suppose we leave your answer until you do.
As you please. But the answer will still be the same.
I shall be very disappointed if it is.
Can I move now?
Yep, just 1 second.
My neck's getting stiff.
Just 2 seconds and I'll be finished.
All right, but if I get rigor mortis, it'll be your fault.
There. That's done. Do you want to look at it?
Is it really finished?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, do you like it?
It's very, very good. I hate to think of Nicholas having it.
Why?
Because it looks right through me, and I'd hate to think of Nicholas being able to do that.
You're frightened of Nicholas, aren't you?
Yes.
Why?
He has some extraordinary power over me. You'll think this absurd, but he knows what I'm thinking. He knows what I'm going to do almost before I know myself. And he's quite determined I shan't do anything which interferes with his plans.
And why do you stay with him?
Don't know. I don't think I can help myself. Then let's talk about it. What are you going to do now the portrait's finished?
Oh, take a holiday, I suppose.
Where will you go?
That depends on you. Francesca, have you made up your mind? You said you'd give me your answer when the portrait was finished.
Oh, Max, I don't know.
You know you love me.
I never said so.
You didn't need to.
It's so obvious.
It's obvious we'd be very happy together. Now, will you come with me?
I think I'd like to, Max. Very much.
Oh, Francesca, darling, you made me very happy.
Max, it's not important, but how do we arrange things?
How do you mean?
Do you want to marry me?
Do you want me to?
I'm not sure.
You know, of course, that if you do...
No. I don't think it matters. Where should we go?
I've got a villa in Italy. It's high on a hill, overlooking the sea. Very quiet, very restful.
Sounds lovely. When shall we start?
When would you like to?
Tomorrow.
Isn't that a bit sudden?
No. Once I've told Nicholas, I shan't be able to stay in this house any longer.
Would you rather I told him?
Oh, no, thanks, Max. I'll tell him.
You want to get it over, don't you? Well, would you like me to go now?
Do you mind, darling?
Of course not, I understand. Goodbye, darling.
Bye.
And give me a ring directly it's over, won't you?
Hello, Leighton. You're not going, are you?
Yes, I am.
How's the portrait coming along?
It's finished.
Oh. May I look?
Certainly. Well, what's the verdict?
You wish me to be honest?
Yes, of course.
Well, frankly, I'm disappointed. It doesn't come up to your usual standard.
In what way?
Well, I should say it lacks integrity.
Oh. Well, in that case, it should suit your taste admirably. Goodbye, Francesca.
Goodbye. Nicholas, I'd like to talk to you.
I'm entirely at your disposal.
I'm glad you came down just then. So much has happened in this room, it seems only right it should hear the end of the story.
The end of which story?
Our story, Nicholas. I'm leaving here tomorrow. Max Leighton has asked me to go away with him to Italy, and I'm going. He's got a house there, you know. It'll mean cancelling the Philharmonic, but that's not for 4 weeks, so they'll be able to get someone else. And I don't want to make any more plans for at least 6 months. You do understand, don't you?
Perfectly. Am I invited to the wedding?
There isn't going to be any wedding. Not yet, anyway.
But I understood you to say that you were going to Italy. To his house.
So I am.
You mean you're going to live with him? Openly?
Yes.
How can you think of such a thing? I won't listen to another word.
Nicholas, I don't care what you say or what you do. This is my life, and I propose to live it in the way I think best.
Francesca.
It's no good, Nicholas. You can't browbeat me any longer. I'm grateful for some of the things you've done for me. But I'll never forgive you for some of the others. Anyway, it's over now. I'm going with Max tomorrow, and nothing is going to stop me. Is that clear?
Perfectly clear.
So, the story is over. Yours and mine in this room. And the only thing I shall miss in it is this piano.
Francesca, I haven't deserved this of you. I've always treated you as though you were my own daughter. All the love and sympathy I've had in me, I've given to you. My life hasn't been a happy one. You're the one beautiful thing in it, and I can't give you up. And I won't give you up. I've spent 10 years training you, molding you, and now you want to throw yourself away on a man who doesn't even want to marry you. I demand that you give up this man. I demand that you send him away.
Oh, Nicholas, I've told you...
Listen, we'll go to America. They've been asking you to come to New York for months now. And now we'll go. You and I together. Just as we've always done. Francesca, this happened once before, remember? You came away with me then, and you weren't sorry, were you? You didn't love that boy, and you don't love Max. And I'll tell you why. You belong to me. We must always be together. You know that, don't you? You know that. Promise you'll stay with me always. Promise. Very well. If you won't pay for me, you shan't pay for anyone else. Ever again.
What are you doing, Nicholas? Put down that cane! Ah! No, Nicholas! No!
So Mr. Cunningham brought his cane down on the keyboard of the piano and onto your hands.
Yes, he did.
But he didn't smash your hands, did he?
I was terrified, I tell you.
Yes, you were terrified, but your hands were not damaged. Look. Oh, very well, very well. We won't talk about that anymore. Were you happy with Max?
We never went to Italy.
But didn't he take you away?
Yes, we started that very evening. We drove for what seemed to be hours and hours. I felt completely numb and very tired. I think I must have dozed off.
Yes?
Max! Max! I must get out of the car. I must get out. The car's on fire. I must get him out. Max! I must get him out. I must get him out of the car.
All right, all right, all right. Now, go on.
Just as I got to him, I heard Nicholas's voice.
Nicholas's voice?
Yes. It was almost as though he was standing beside me. I could hear him quite clearly over the roar of the flames. He said, "Always take care of your hands. They're your most precious possession. Damage them, and you are no more use to the world."
So you left Max lying there?
Of course not. I had to get him out, whatever it cost me. I don't remember anymore, really. Not until I woke up in bed at the hospital.
And then you felt terrible?
For a moment, I couldn't think what had happened. And then it all came back to me. I looked at my hands. They were bandaged, and I couldn't move them. I knew then that I should never play again.
But there was nothing wrong with your hands, was there?
That's what they all said, but I didn't believe them. Why were they bandaged?
They were burned a little, that's all. No bones broken, nothing serious. Just superficial burns. Look, they've healed up already. You do know that's true, don't you?
No, I don't. And if I can't play anymore, I don't want to live anymore.
Well, Dr. Larson, was your examination successful?
Who can say? In the past 2 hours, Miss Cunningham and I have traversed a great many years. A girl of 16 has grown into a mature woman of 26. We've walked side by side over every step of that journey. A long journey, Mr. Layton, and a dangerous one. A turning missed here, a slip into the ditch there. They all have their after effects. A twisted ankle and a twisted mind have got a great deal in common, you know.
Yes, but can you cure her?
Who knows? Already I have found out how she sprained her ankle and which stone she stumbled over when she grazed her shin. I'm not so sure what it was that broke her heart. But perhaps we shall find that out, too, later on.
I see.
To a pianist, the hands are of the greatest possible importance. Miss Cunningham has become convinced, against all the evidence, that her hands are irreparably damaged, that she will never be able to use them again. This has created a barrier in her subconscious mind which we have to break down.
And how do you hope to do that?
My aim is to persuade her to play the piano while she is in a state of hypnosis. If I'm successful, I shall wake her up while she's actually playing. Then she will know for a certainty that there is nothing wrong with her hands.
Do you think it'll work?
That we shall know in a few minutes' time. Have you any gramophone records of Miss Cunningham playing?
Well, yes. Why?
I should like you to select one, a solo piece, and have it ready on the record player when I return. I shall then ask you to play it for me when I give the signal. Is that clear?
Yes, of course.
Very well. I will go now and prepare the patient. Now, Miss Cunningham, I want you to listen to me carefully and do exactly as I tell you.
Is she in a complete state of hypnosis?
Yes. Sit down here at the piano. That's right. Now, would you like to hear some music today? Nod your head if you would like to. Good, you would. You are ready, Mr. Layton?
Yes, quite ready.
Then start the record, please. There, Miss Cunningham. There is the music I promised you. Isn't it beautiful? Don't you want to play it yourself?
Play?
Yes. Don't you want to play?
I can't.
Yes, you can if you want to. See, I've lifted your hands. Now they're on the keys. Your hands want to play. You want to play, don't you? Try. Try to play.
It's all right. I've caught her.
Please, Doctor, give her to me. Here. I'll take her back to her room and turn off that record player.
Leighton, what on earth is going on in my drawing room? Francesca, is she all right?
She's fainted. I'm taking her back to bed. This is Dr. Larson. He'll explain.
Ah, yes, Dr. Larson. You're treating my ward, I believe.
So you are Nicholas Cunningham.
I gather your treatment has not been conspicuously successful.
Mr. Cunningham, are you interested in my patient's recovery?
Naturally.
Then would you mind if I asked for your assistance? I have a record here. It is of a tune which has assumed some importance in the case. I wonder if I could play it to you, and if you would be good enough to tell me whether you know anything about it, whether perhaps it has any sentimental associations, or is concerned with anyone she knew.
Go ahead. But don't expect me to know anything about her private affairs.
You dropped your cane, Mr. Cunningham. Allow me.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Cunningham. By smashing that record, you have helped me tremendously.
Helped you?
I already knew of the power you had over Miss Cunningham, but now I know why. I know what she means to you. You see, all the pieces of the jigsaw begin to fit together. Mr. Leighton made an unlucky choice of gramophone record, did he not?
You're not suggesting you can prove anything from a gramophone record?
On the contrary, one can prove a great deal when one observes the effect a few bars of music have on somebody's feelings.
Dr. Larson.
I know. There is no need to say it. You wish me to go, is that not so?
I'm sorry. I was the one who insisted on your being called in, but now I wish I hadn't. I'd like you now to withdraw from the case.
Of course, I must do as you say, but I think you ought to know I consider it my duty to go on treating her.
No. After what happened today, I don't want you to use Miss Cunningham for any further experiments. Is that quite clear?
Quite.
Then if you'll excuse me...
How is she?
She's sleeping, as peacefully as a child.
Everyone's hand seems to be turned against you, Doctor.
Don't pity me. It's that poor girl you should be sorry for.
You're a strange person. What is your real interest in Francesca?
The same as yours, Mr. Cunningham.
Mine?
I want to see her restored to health. I want her to live again, to play again. Isn't that what you want?
Of course it's what I want.
Then will you allow me to go on treating Miss Cunningham?
You really think you can cure Francesca?
Yes, I believe so. If you will help me. Good afternoon. You are Mr. Gay?
Yes.
My name is Larson, Dr. Larson.
Now, wait a minute. I don't need a doctor.
I'm very glad to hear it. I asked you to come because a patient of mine lives here, Miss Francesca Cunningham. And I believe you know her.
Well, sure I know her. Is she ill?
No, but she is in trouble, very great trouble, Mr. Gay, and I believe you can help me to put it right. You and Miss Cunningham were close friends at one time, were you not?
Yes, that's right.
She went abroad for 7 years, but when she returned, the first thing she did was to contact you.
Yes.
Mr. Gay, I want you to tell me what happened that night.
Well, nothing. I told her that I was married.
I see. How did she take it?
She just hung up on me.
Has Miss Cunningham ever met your wife?
Oh, not that I know of. We were divorced a couple of months ago, anyway.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's quite a relief, really.
Mr. Gay, may I ask a very personal question?
I guess so.
You were in love with Miss Cunningham, weren't you?
Yes. Yes, I was.
Are you still in love with her?
I've never loved anyone else, if that's what you mean.
One more thing. There was a special tune you used to dance to, a waltz.
Yes.
Could you remember it well enough to play it over on the piano?
Oh, well...
You are a musician, are you not?
That's right, but the trumpet's my instrument. Still, I guess I could pick it out for you.
Good. Now, if you will be kind enough to wait here, I'll send for you in just a minute. Oh, you can practice your tune on the piano in here if you wish.
Okay, Doctor, anything you say.
Good evening, Mr. Gay.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Cunningham. Say, I hope I haven't been disturbing you.
Not at all. This is Max Leighton. Leighton, Peter Gay.
How do you do? How do you do, Mr.
They're ready for you now in Francesca's sitting room.
Oh, good.
Go straight up the stairs and you'll find the doctor waiting for you.
Thank you.
Who is that man?
An old friend of Francesca's. In fact, he's the first man she wanted to marry.
What's he doing here now?
Dr. Larson invited him.
Larson? Is he here?
Yes.
But I told him to withdraw from the case. He has no right to go on treating Francesca.
He has every right. I asked him to.
I'm going to put a stop to this once and for all.
I shouldn't do that if I were you. This is still my house, you know.
That's why I've come tonight, to take her away. She'll never get better as long as she stays here with you.
That's a matter of opinion.
There's another reason.
We're going to be married.
That's a new development, isn't it?
No.
Last time I understood you were going to live together without benefit of clergy.
That was her wish. It wasn't mine.
A very charming way of putting it. In any case, I fancy you're too late.
What's that music?
It's a tune they used to dance to.
But why is he playing it now?
It's part of Larson's experiment, an attempt to get Francesca back to the piano. Why not sit down and have a drink? Whiskey?
Oh, all right. Thanks.
Just like a dentist's waiting room, isn't it?
Stopped. What's happened, do you think? I'll go.
No, Maxer. We must wait for Dr. Larson.
Here's Gay. Well, what's happened?
That's just what I'm trying to figure out myself.
You're right.
What did Larson say?
Well, I guess it all adds up to something, but he's way ahead of me. What's the good of turning back the clock anyway? Never did do anyone any good.
I wouldn't be so sure of that. Have a drink?
Oh, thank you.
Help yourself. Beethoven. She's playing Beethoven.
She certainly plays beautifully.
Do you mean she's playing?
Yes. Yes. That's my Francesca.
May I go up now, Doctor?
No, it would be a pity to interrupt her.
But surely she wants me with her.
Perhaps.
What do you mean, perhaps?
Forgive me, gentlemen. I should have explained to you at once, but the music has put it out of my head. I think I can promise you a complete cure, but you will have to prepare yourselves for a new Francesca. A new and a very different person.
In what way?
You see, the past is over for her now, quite over. Her mind is clear, the clouds have been swept away, and she's no longer afraid. Whether you will be entirely satisfied with the change in her, I do not know. But it might be wise not to expect too much.
Are you trying to tell me?
I'm trying to tell you she will want to be with the one she loves or the one she has been happiest with. The one she trusts or the one she cannot do without.
And who is that?
It would be hardly fair of me to say.
But you must say. You've no right to keep us here in suspense.
Will you excuse me, Dr. Larson? I'm going to my study.
She stopped playing.
Then, no doubt, she's ready to tell you herself.
I'll go and fetch her. You can't stop me now.
There was no need, Mr. Layton. Here she comes. A new, radiant Francesca.
Peter. Oh, you came back. And Max. Oh, forgive me. But where is Nicholas? Dr. Larson, where is Nicholas?
It's all right, my dear. I'll send him to you. Mr. Cunningham. Mr. Cunningham. Francesca is waiting for you.
You have just heard The Seventh Veil, written by Muriel and Sidney Box. It was adapted for radio by Helen Cunningham, produced in Durban by Anne Freed, and directed by Delphine Lethbridge. It starred Harold Freed, Nigel Kane, Margaret Milner-Smythe, Merle Wayne, and Sheila Raymond Jones. This production of Lux Radio Theatre was originally broadcast on the 26th of July, 1971.